Here we go.
From memory loss to brain damage. But the thing that's important to appreciate is that an implantable device can actually solve these problems. I think a lot of people don't quite realize that. But all of your senses, your sight, hearing, feeling, pain, these are all electrical signals sent by neurons to your brain. And if you can correct these signals, you can solve everything.
Big welcome to anyone tuning in here. We're obviously going to be watching the Elon Musk presentation before we go live on Freaky Friday on the radio. We'll be jumping in, we'll be kind of wowing and wow and eureka and oh no and doom and gloom in between what we hear, okay? So let's just hear what he's going to say just now.
An extremely fundamental thing, and I think a lot of people don't quite understand that. The neurons are like wiring, and you kind of need an electronic thing to solve an electronic problem. So current medical research, we'll just go through what is the state of the art in medical research, and then what's the state of the art in what consumers or people in general can get. So the current medical research
okay, so we can turn that down a little bit. Just now I've got Nanogirl with me. I had to have Nanogirl here for the Neuralink, right? We've got Jimmy Genes as well. Bit of a Californian dream going on today. Great to see you both. Before Elon, I mean, he's currently going over stuff we know. I mean, looking forward to this, Nanogirl?
And there's a big...
Oh my God, I've been looking forward to this for a week.
So
Jimmy?
Or a month, actually.
And obviously, it will look pretty weird if you walk around with...
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked.
Here we go, our future in the Borg.
In order to use it, you have to have an expert medical professional there, and it's only been done in a few dozen people. So, but it is served as an important proof of concept that this can be done. So, we did want to point this out and show that this actually does work. It's just not something that the average person could use effectively. And then in terms of what is currently available, there is something called deep brain stimulation, where they put electrodes, a small number of electrodes, in your brain, and will actually zap your brain with electric current.
You see, those electrodes there, they're not quite practical compared to what Elon's going to be showing us today, right? I don't fancy two things that look like big nails driven into my skull like we see there, you know?
Yeah.
Nah, not good.
No.
Nonetheless, this has greatly helped over 150,000 people, and it's actually, just despite being somewhat of a brute force approach, it has been very effective for a lot of people. And this is what's currently available. So we want to radically improve this by multiple orders of magnitude, improve it by a factor of 100, then 1,000, then 10,000. So going into the Neuralink architecture, what we've done over the past year is dramatically simplify the device. So we about a year ago, we had a device which had multiple parts, including a piece that had to sort of sit behind your ear, and it was complex, and you wouldn't still look totally normal. You'd have a thing behind your ear.
And this is basically what we've seen last year, right? I mean, this is the idea we got. We've seen the machine and everything else. So today,
about the size of a large coin, and it goes in your skull, replaces a piece of skull, and the wires then connect within a few centimeters or about an inch away from the device. And this is sort of what it looks like.
Now that's new, right?
Yep.
Yep, that's new.
Yeah.
Brand new. Oh.
This is our little device. That thing at the bottom is just to hold the threads in place, because they're just like little fine wires. I mean, frankly, to sort of simplify this, what we're, I mean, it's more complicated than this, but it's, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
Oh, well, that's okay then.
So,
I've always wanted that. That's okay, Elon. You've just dispelled the population's myths about this technology.
Current prototype, version 0.9, has about 1,000 channels. So that's about 100 times better than the next best consumer device that's available. and it's a 23 millimeters by 8 millimeters. It actually fits quite nicely in your skull. Your skull
That's nice.
is
At least you don't have a
about
big
10 millimeters thick.
lump on your head then,
So,
guys, you know?
it fits. It goes flush with your skull. It's invisible, and all you can see afterwards
It's
is
invisible,
this tiny
Kev.
scar. And if it's under your hair, you can't see it at all. I could have a Neuralink right now, and you wouldn't know.
Oh,
Maybe I
that's
do.
scary.
So,
Because I was going to say, how many of us think that Elon's already got it?
sensors you'd expect to see
I do.
in a smartwatch
I do.
or a phone, like notional measurement, temperature, pressure. So there's actually a lot of functions that this device could do.
All-day
related
battery
to
life.
monitoring your health and warning you about a possible heart attack or stroke or other damage, as well as sort of convenience features like playing music. It could do a lot. It's sort of like if your phone went at your brain or something.
Oh, well, that's okay then. Your
It's not
phone
great
going in
analogy.
your brain, folks. Pretty cool.
Anyway, so it's also inductively charged. So it's charged in the same way that you charge a smartwatch or a phone. And so you can use it all day, charge it at night, and have full functionality. So you would really...
Right, so does this go
it would
inside
be
the head
completely
or what?
seamless.
What about
yeah, no
behind
wires.
the ear?
It goes into the skull.
Then
In
how
terms
can
of
you
getting
charge it at night?
You need to have the
I think you
device,
pop it out.
a great device, and you also need to have a great robot that puts in the electrodes and
Less
does the
than an
surgery.
hour.
So you want the surgery to be as automated and as possible, and the only way you can achieve the level of precision that's needed is with an advanced robot. So we're really looking for great people who can help develop both the device and the robot. And we feel confident about getting the link procedure, the installation of a link, done in under an hour. So you can basically go in the morning and leave the hospital in the afternoon. And it can be done without general anesthesia. So in terms of getting a link, like I said, it's essentially you open a piece of skull, you remove about a coin-sized piece of skull.
Come on,
and
Elon.
then the robot inserts the electrodes. We'll talk more about that later. Then the device replaces the portion of skull that was removed, and we basically close that up with actually super glue, which is how a lot of wounds are closed, and then you can just walk around right afterwards. It's pretty
Right.
cool.
Wait. We're going to pause this, right? He's going to pop a bit of your skull out, Jimmy.
Yes.
Nano, he's going to place what looks like a really fantouche kind of watch battery in your skull. He's then going to take super glue, or sorry, his robot is, put that bit of
His robot
skull
is.
back on, super glue it in, and you're kicked out the other end of the hospital an hour later. What could possibly go wrong?
You can go walk around.
Well, but where are the wires?
Well, here we
Oh,
go.
the wires.
Here we go then. We'll try and, because it's bound to show us, isn't it? Here we
Oh,
go.
yeah. Okay. Yep.
Like
Okay.
there's a piece of ribbon cable in there.
Yeah, here we
Yes.
go. Here we go.
Yep.
So this is
Okay.
a surgical robot. And we actually ultimately want this robot to do essentially the entire surgery.
I'm going to have to turn this
so
up. Wait a minute.
in everything from incision, removing the skull, inserting the electrodes, placing the device, and then closing things up and having you ready to leave. So we want to have a fully automated system. And to be clear, this robot does actually work. We've used it for all of the implantations.
See, it
So
works
this shows
already,
you,
Kev.
Yep.
a sort of close-up view, which I think is actually not too gruesome, of the electrodes being inserted in the brain. And if you look closely, you'll see that it's a little counterintuitive that if the electrodes are inserted very carefully, that there's no bleeding. And so if you have very tiny electrodes, and if they're inserted very carefully, so that the robot actually images the brain and makes sure to avoid any veins or arteries so that the electrodes can be inserted with no noticeable damage. So you will have no noticeable neural damage in
Holy
inserting the link.
shamoly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you sort of think like if you stab something with a wire, surely it will bleed, but actually at a really small scale, it does not.
No noticeable
So-
damage.
Does it work?
Does it
Are we going to
actually
see it
work?
working here,
And
folks?
what I'm excited to show you, I call it like the Three Little Pigs demo. And if our
Oh, Elon, don't harm any pigs. Don't do it.
I don't have this. We're bringing out the pigs, and what we're going to show you
Oh,
is
it's pigs.
Well, I'll walk right over and show you.
Oh, Elon.
Oh, those are pigs.
Yeah.
The poor little pigs.
Oh, I smell bacon now.
So what we have in
Cass.
pen number 1 is
They got their
Joyce,
mask on, though.
and she does not have an implant.
Okay.
Obviously healthy and happy.
Yeah, no wonder she's happy. She doesn't
we're
have
trying to
anything
get-
in her head.
Gertrude out. And this is how you know it's a live demo. She's like trying to eat something in the corner of her pen. Come on, Gertrude.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gertrude.
What are the other two going to do? Are they going to start like robot
Snatch her this way.
dancing?
They're
Or
going
like,
to dance because they've got chips in
man.
their head with music.
one's going to start like reading out War and Peace?
All right. We'll wait. We'll give Gertrude a
Talk.
second, and we'll move on to Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Sometimes the pigs are a little shy.
Dorothy.
So here's Dorothy.
She clicked her heels
and
together.
In the case of Dorothy, Dorothy used to have an implant, and then we removed the implant. So this is
So you can
very
remove
important
it.
thing to demonstrate is reversibility. So
All right,
if you
cool.
if you have a
All right,
Neuralink,
that answers that
and
question.
then you decide you don't want it, or you want to get an upgrade, and
Except
the
you
Neuralink is
tell
removed,
pig.
is it removed in such a way that you are still healthy and happy afterwards? And what Dorothy illustrates is that you can put in the Neuralink, remove it, and be healthy, happy, and indistinguishable from a normal pig. Oh, thanks, Dorothy.
Okay, Dorothy.
They will
Man,
be as
Gertrude,
happy as
are
a
you
pig.
serious?
Right, so what the heck?
Okay. Well, should we bring them all out or something? Would that be better?
And the one within the head is
I thought
really
everyone
freaked
just
out
comes
over
into
there.
this pen.
Yeah, it isn't doing anything.
And we'll have a few. It'll be a little crowded, but whatever.
Not doing well with that thing in its head.
No, maybe it's too busy reading War and
Okay.
Peace.
All right.
It's watching a movie,
Well,
it's
is
texting a
Gertrude
mate,
still back in the thing? Okay, we need to bring Gertrude out. Yeah.
swiping right on Tinder right about now, you know? Nope.
We're going to bring Gertrude out because Gertrude is
Beauty
intelligent
of live
now.
demos. This is a real live demo.
The battery fell out.
All right. Maybe we can zoom in to do Gertrude or something.
Did nobody tell Elon? There's two main rules. You don't work with children. You don't work
Or
with animals.
pigs or animals. Yeah.
I sometimes throw Jimmy in there, but only for comedy's sake. Here we go.
Clearly very interested in something at the back of a pen.
Oh, this could be really a damn squib if he gets this. If this chipped pig ain't going to play.
Well, it's intelligent now.
Exactly.
Somebody's writing to it from the CIA or
Are
the
you sure?
NSA.
Or-
Don't cooperate.
It's reading text.
Somebody's hacked it.
Maybe it's a blackmailing
It's
I know.
Elon.
it's found kitten videos on YouTube.
No chip, no peace.
Well, this worked earlier.
I bet it did.
Hey, sorry about that, Bob. It was working just fine before you came in, but real sorry about that weird tick you got now.
It worked earlier.
It was working earlier.
Oh, dear me. I am like Elon
All right,
Musk's
well-
biggest champion, and I'm struggling here. I'm about to crawl under the table. I can't defend this.
What if we lift the curtain and then zoom in?
Lift the curtain. Just do away with its privacy. You know, now it's aware of that with its chip.
Oh, my
Oh.
God, the pig is
Here we
just
go.
not
Great.
having it. Oh,
Okay.
they're feeding the pig.
Great.
They switched.
Oh, everybody clapped.
Yeah, why is there
And
two
is this
pigs in there?
Gertrude?
Did they switch the
This is
pig?
a
They probably
high
did.
energy pig. All right.
Oh,
Gertrude,
God,
thanks
and
for
that's in
coming
your
out.
brain? Oh, Lord in heaven.
So what the beeps you're hearing are real-time signals from the Neuralink in Gertrude's head. So this Neuralink connects to neurons that are in her snout. So whenever she snuffles around and touches something with her snout, that sends out neural spikes, which are detected here. And so on the screen, you can see each of the spikes from the 1,024 electrodes. And then if she snuffles around, touches her snout in the ground, or you kind of feed her some food, pigs love food, then you can see the neurons will fire
So that's
much
like
more
the
than
sound
when
of
you're not touching those
neurons
now.
firing in real time.
And that's
I
what's
guess
making the
so, yeah.
beeping sound. All right, cool. So as you can see, we have a healthy and happy pig.
Yeah.
Initially shy, but obviously high energy and you know, kind of loving life. And
I don't
she's
know,
had the
Elon.
implant for 2 months. So this is
2 months that pig's been going about with that in there. I don't know either. I think in 2 months it's found privacy to be a thing. It doesn't want to play with humans anymore.
the
There's
healthy
not
and happy
enough chocolate for that.
No.
pig with an implant that is 2 months old and working well. Yeah.
How do you know it's working well?
All right, cool.
She's not talking.
And then we actually have, I'm sure if this works, is,
Uh-oh.
so we said, well, what if we do 2 Neuralink implants? And we've been able to do dual Neuralink implants in, actually,
Why?
I think 3 pigs at this point, and we have a couple of them here. And we've been able to show that you can actually have multiple Neuralinks implanted, and again, healthy and happy and indistinguishable from a normal pig.
Apart
So
from the fact it's lost all its colouring,
so
got
it's
all
possible to have
spots
multiple
on it,
links
you know?
in your head and
So
have
this
them
one
both be sending
has
out
2?
signals and be working well.
Yeah, now we're going to pause that there, folks, because we're about to go live to
Okay.
Truth Frequency Radio, and we'll get back to our little watch party that we're having here.
Okay.
So far, I mean, we've got to see the new kind of little device that goes into the skull. Obviously, nobody's going to be too impressed with this demonstration with the pigs, right? But yeah, worth the wait so far. But I want to know, can I like plug into Ready Player One on it? I mean, are we ready to go? How's that work? You know, Jimmy wants Tinder in his head, so he can just blink left or blink right, and
Man, I ain't getting within 100 yards of that thing. That's
No,
tell you
me
right now.
either.
No, it's just funny because I was doing this thing earlier today, and the guy was talking about pigs, and he said the only difference between a pig and a human being is the brain. Pretty much everything else is the same, you know, biologically
we're
speaking.
very similar genetically, like very too similar for comfort. Almost
Oh,
enough.
man.
It's almost enough to put you off a bacon sandwich, but not quite.
Almost.
Almost. But I won't go that far, you know.
No.
No. So I'm watching the clock here. We're going to go live to the network in just a second. Thank you all for joining us today. Nano's been drafted in for our technological special here. She messaged me. I forgot all about Elon Musk thing until Nano messaged me. And
You
that
did not.
I did. Here we go. I'm going to bring in the network. Here we go. Hold that thought. Welcome to Freaky Friday, ladies and gentlemen. And a very special Freaky Friday this is indeed, because we're not going to waste too much time getting into this today. I've been following along with Nanogirl and Jimmy Genes, the presentation by Neuralink, Elon Musk. I've got it paused right now. We're about to go back to a really tense moment where we're about to meet a couple of pigs that have got not one, but multiple chips in their brain. But before we get there, Nanogirl, I had to kind of fly you in, helicopter you in for this special broadcast. I had genuinely forgot forgot about the Neuralink until you messaged me today. So thank you.
Oh, I just figured you and I were just like, yeah, we had our drinks ready. We were gunned and ready, and it's like, oh my God, what's he gonna do? I've been waiting weeks for this, actually.
I know. We've probably been waiting a year, Nano, if we're being honest,
Yeah.
since the last one.
True,
Jimmy.
yeah.
Jimmy's here as well. Scotty Lopez has got migraine today, and Jimmy has very graciously answered my distress call. The bat signal went up. The FF of Freaky Friday. And Jimmy's seen it. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm cocked, locked, and ready to rock. I swung in on a rope like Snake Plissken out of the disaster zone known as FEMA Region 9. You know, just 7 days ago, I was in the middle of the eye of the firestorm, and today it's Elon Musk and a couple of three little friends that might build their own house over there.
It's like you've gone from the firestorm into like a bacon frying pan, really, because
I know.
this Neuralink, it's kind of we watched a bit of this before we went live today. He's just kind of been going over the what looks like a little clock battery that goes into the top of your head, and to demonstrate that, this is what people were kind of debating. Would it be human trials? How would this new update look? And we're going to go back now. We're going to listen to what Elon does have to say about this. Obviously, we'll be jumping in to offer our not so expert opinion, but our commentary along the way. And no pigs. I hope I can assure everyone out there, no pigs that I've seen so far have been harmed in the making of this. It would appear they develop a bit of a stubborn streak when they are chipped, but hopefully it doesn't affect the taste of a bacon sandwich. Here we go.
All right. Phew. All right, so we just showed you a demonstration of reading brain activity, and see, probably see that. As I was saying, each of those dots represents a neural spike, and the blue chart at the bottom is showing an accumulation of neural spikes in that region.
You see, this is where a bit of the kind of privacy concerns have to come in. And we've seen it live there on the pig when we were listening basically to the neurons in a pig's mind flying off. Now, we know that they've been doing decades of research into mapping the brain, what neurons fire when. In fact, they can almost, by looking at the brain and the activity in it, they can produce literally what you've got in your mind's eye, what's in the actual brain. So when you've got something like this, I mean, you can understand why people are terribly concerned about privacy. I mean, we know that they're into everything with our technology, okay? But the last bastion of privacy, surely you would think, are your own thoughts, your own mind. And when you see something like this, guys, and I'm going to play it again in a second, you can understand where a lot of the concern comes from, right?
Yep.
Jimbo?
I was all muted out. Yeah, no, I'm with you on this, but I mean, on the same level though, you have so much available to you from a psychotronic situation. It seems to me that this whole idea of this implantable technology is archaic. I mean, it seems to me at this point, establishing some sort of a wireless frequency-based link directly to the brain would be more advantageous. But I'm sure Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, maybe they'll be the first ones to get the dome implant there, and because I mean, if once the celebrities start lining up for it, man, everybody else will see it as being some sort of a attainment. I think, don't you think?
Well, I think it's going to take off big time.
You do?
Yeah, hugely.
I do.
For a start,
Yep.
anyone that's got like brain injuries and somebody that's going to get a better quality of life, I don't think they're going to be too worried about that privacy side of things. I really don't. So we'll take a listen to what it says here.
So, in terms of additional brain reading activity, when we have, say, one of our pigs on a treadmill, pig on a treadmill. Funny concept, really. And we take the readings from the neurons, and we try to predict the position of the joints. And so we have the predicted position of the joints, and then we measure the actual position of the joints. You can see that they're almost exactly aligned. So we're able, with a wireless neural implant, to actually predict the position of all of the limbs in the pig's body with very high accuracy. Now, in terms of writing to the brain or stimulating neurons, we also need precise control of the electric field in space and time. We need a wide range of current for different brain regions. Some regions require delicate stimulation, some require a lot of current.
Writing to the brain.
And you want, obviously, no harm to the brain over time.
I mean, writing to the brain. I mean, that there, I mean, come on. Whoa. You know, what we're talking about there, like putting in... So, are we literally on the cusp of, say, having the memories of a holiday we've never been on? Having the memories of going skydiving when we've never done it? Being able to write or talk or listen to a foreign language when maybe we've never even heard it? Is that the kind of thing that we're writing to the brain? I don't know, you know?
Well, it's like they talk about instantaneous knowledge. So, like, you sat in the seat of a helicopter, that you'd be able to know how to fly a helicopter right then and there.
Dang, dude. Dang. Here we go.
And the way part of the way we analyze the stimulating neurons is with a 2-photon microscopy. I always have trouble pronouncing that, microscopy.
So do I, Elon.
It's very impressive technology. You can actually literally see in real time how the neurons are firing.
You see, that's why I would contest he doesn't have one, because if he did, you'd be able to pronounce all these things perfect, right?
Well, maybe you got the first version. It's all good.
Yeah, he's just got a little bit flaws in it, so it's not too good.
It's a prototype.
Yeah.
The red...
Yeah, well,
Go on, Jimmy.
He's just like Geordie Rose, man. Geordie Rose doesn't let his kid anywhere near a cell phone, so you guarantee he's nowhere near this thing. He's got pigs willing to take the implant already. So what does he need to take it for?
Telling you, dude. I think he's got one. I do. I think he's got it in there. Whether it's on or not, I don't know. Would it get you round human trials if you offered to do it yourself? Probably on the quiet, you know.
As long as no one knew.
Yeah.
I don't think the FDA would allow it.
Yeah, as long as you were doing it yourself. And
Yep.
If anyone's going to do it to themselves, would it be Musk?
He owns it.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
things are the neurons.
He may be operating. He may be operating in another realm as it is. I mean, a lot of people say he looks a bit robotic. Maybe he has a hard drive inside that skull. He doesn't need a Neuralink.
The
You never know.
flashing things are the neurons firing, or I should say the electrodes firing. So the red things are electrodes firing, and then the green are the neuron bodies responding to the current from the electrode.
So does it just
So you can see them lining
stimulate
up
the
different brain
brain?
regions.
Looks like it, but is that how you write to the brain? Is that how you implant
Is
something
it-
in it? I don't know. It
But
says
is it?
writing.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that how messages get delivered?
Must be.
Wow.
And then by carefully controlling the electric field, you can actually have one electrode influence possibly 1,000 or 10,000 neurons. So although you might only have 1,000 electrodes implanted, you could be influencing millions of neurons.
How do you know? I mean, cause and effect, right? I mean, I get it. It's going to go through trials and things, but do you really know what other neurons, what other effects you might be causing subconsciously underneath when you're firing these things? We barely understand what consciousness is. In fact, we might be nowhere near to understanding what consciousness is. I don't know.
But isn't that why they're doing this test?
I would
Right.
imagine, yeah, you could say that, yep.
Yep.
Jimmy's not impressed. He's not having it, like.
No, the thing about it is you know, what's going through my mind is that if you were to look at the human body as a system, okay, because you can observe my brain doing a certain activity and see it and understand that I moved my arm or whatever, but there may be 100 other things that happen as a result of having that thought physiologically inside of you that causes your body to go into these different, you know, modes. Like, you know, we talk about dopamine quite a bit.
Yeah.
And would it be possible to, honestly, I would expect more. I'm not impressed with this at all. And as a matter of fact, I mean, it looks archaic. The thought of sticking a quarter-sized anything in somebody's skull in 2020 doesn't really make sense to me. I can't, you know.
Let's get back to it anyway. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's just a similar chart showing stimulation at different power levels. So, like I said, for the initial device, it's read-write in every channel with about 1,024 channels, all-day battery life, recharges overnight, has quite a long range, so you can have the range being to your phone, I should say. That's kind of an important thing. This would connect to your phone, and actually the application would be on your phone, and it would be communicating by essentially Bluetooth Low Energy to the device in your head.
Oh,
So
that's
I say
not
in a lot
good.
of ways
That's
it is
not
like a
good.
Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. So, and then, like I said, you would not be able to see
He hasn't got
the
much to
device
go.
at all. You would look completely normal and just have a small scar under your hair. And we're making good progress towards clinical studies. I'm excited to announce that we received a breakthrough device designation from the FDA in July,
Boom.
thanks to the hard work of the Neuralink team. So I want to be clear, we're working closely with the FDA, and we'll be extremely rigorous. In fact, we will significantly exceed the minimum FDA guidelines for safety. We will make this as safe as possible. Just as with Tesla, while it is legally possible to ship a 1-star car, at Tesla, the only cars we make are 5 stars in every category. So we actually maximize safety, and we'll take the same approach here at Neuralink. And then to emphasize again, what the goal of this presentation is recruiting. We want people who are great at solving problems to join the company and help us
Nano girl? Come on, Nano.
Yep, I'm there.
You've got
Let's
to be
see,
there.
they have any
Come on.
project managers?
Oh, come on. They need project managers. Come on. You just have to say, listen, Elon, I've been to D-Wave. I go on the Kev Baker show. Big Easy Eric's a friend. I kind of know Geordie Rose. 1 degree of separation. You can do it.
I could do it.
I've got faith
I'll have
in
to
you.
look in to see if they've got some openings.
You would imagine, wouldn't you? Here we go.
Yeah.
complete this device, take care of the animals, write the software, create the chips.
Oh, hang on. They need somebody to take care of the pigs. There's something I can do then. There we go. Hey.
And
As long as you don't eat them for bacon.
No, I wouldn't. No, obviously not, Nano. I wouldn't harm any of the pigs under my care. Obviously
Oh,
not.
okay.
and productionize everything. So we need like robotics engineers. I think we also especially need people who have worked on and shipped products. So if you've like shipped a smartwatch or a phone, or any kind of complex electronics or complex device, or advanced medical devices, we'd love for you to contact us and consider working
But
here.
he's about to get into questions now. So
and
I'm going to pause it there, and we're going to
Okay.
discuss some of what we've seen.
Okay.
Nano, let me come to you first, because I'm pretty sure Jimmy Jeans is ready to unload on the Muskinator, so we'll let him go second.
Okay.
Your thoughts, Nano?
Okay.
We've been looking forward to this, right? For
Yes.
a while.
Yes.
Are you happy with what you've seen?
My big concern is the connection to an application on your phone. What could go wrong with that? And Bluetooth. My biggest concern is at people having their brain hijacked, having this device hijacked, or it doesn't turn off. Like for some reason it just goes haywire on you and it's in your brain. And do they have emergency like what's the emergency for that? Like in other words, I'd ask Elon, so I used to work in the ER. What happens if one of your folks come into the ER and this has gone haywire? How do we turn it off? What can we do? What if it, something sparks out in their brain? That concerns me. That's always been the two biggest things that have concerned me. And then the third one is if it's hijacked, who can hijack it? And what if I have voices in my head? And then what Jimmy Jean said, Jimmy, that was really brilliant. When we think about things in our heads, especially about joy, or let's just pick joy or happiness or something that really fills us with dopamine, what does that affect Neuralink? Does a Neuralink affect that? Does it turn it off? And that's and does it artificially fire up dopamine? You know, what happens with all that? So that's a very good discussion. I hadn't thought of that, but to be honest with you, the biggest reason for paying attention to this is always been my big concern about this is where's it going? That's nice to know that you can pull it out. It's reversible, right? So you can pull it out.
Super glue, yeah. It's only in there with a bit of super glue, Nano. It's okay. Just crack it open.
And I still don't like a robot putting it in my brain, but okay. So
Jimmy,
those are my initial thoughts.
Yep, Jimmy.
So Jimmy, what are you thinking?
What are you thinking now you've heard Nano?
Well, great stuff, Nano, as usual. I'm looking at this thing. First of all, I'm looking at it from a sales and marketing perspective, and I'm looking at the presentation here. And I see Elon Musk, and so far the thing that stuck out to me about the presentation was his use of the word consumers over and over again. And so in light of what you were just saying there, Nano, about the effect of emotional chemical release in the human body. I think at the point that, I mean, your phone is already sending signals back to whatever systems are in place to know when you're ready to buy something. So I'm just saying, I mean, could the buying signal or that type of signal be, directly sent to the brain via this device, because it's a read-write device? I mean, do you have a firewall? See, the thing about it is cognitive liberty is the biggest issue on the table moving into the future. The idea that you have the right to the inside of your own head without somebody putting thoughts or signals into it. Or, I mean, you can go down to a certain museums and you'll walk up to a painting and observe the painting on the wall, and you'll hear in your head, without headphones on, just in your head, you'll hear a description of the artist and the painting or whatever you're looking at. So the idea that you can put thoughts already just wirelessly, psychotronically into your skull, this device here seems a bit, like I say, I expected more from the Musk man. I expected something to be, say razor thin, some sort of Bucky paper type design. Something didn't require a battery, something powered by saline nano machines generating electricity in your veins, like so many of the things we hear about that potentially are military weapons. So I can see, he's trying to get there, but at this point, I gotta say, is there anything left to this presentation? I mean, maybe I'm coming off half cocked. I mean, maybe
it just looks like questions. That's why I've cut away from it.
Well, what do you think, Kev? I mean, I know you're a big fan of the Musk,
I think
man.
From what I've seen today, we're probably still quite a way off from it being out there commercially. I'm still excited by it. I still think the advantages over the negative side, it outweighs it for me. Probably not the presentation I expected. Probably I was expecting something a bit more, I don't know, a bit more pizzazz about it, a bit more trying to sell it, a bit more...
some Steve Jobs kind of,
Well, funny you should mention that. Funny you should mention it, because Nano, you mentioned his name to me before the show, didn't you? And you made a comparison, didn't you, between him and...
Yeah,
Musk.
I said that he's kind of the Steve Jobs of our time.
He just doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have that showman. He doesn't have that kind of delivery,
Right. No, I know what you mean. I mean, Steve Jobs, whenever he did a presentation, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah,
the whole room was
he could work the crowd. Awesome.
Oh, he totally worked the crowd. But there's a couple things. I think for what he's trying to do today, which I didn't realize, is he's trying to get people to work for him. This is actually an advertisement, which I didn't realize. So they're really early in, if it's just in the pigs, this is probably not the ultimate thing that we're going to see in humans. Maybe because it's even changed from what was on the site a year ago. So it may be ultimately it's going to be another iteration, right? And because you're going to want to make it so that you can pull it in and pull it out. Because if you notice, there was another word he used was the next revision.
Yeah, because when you've seen all of the jobs that they're after as well, I think we're looking very early prototype still.
Absolutely. And I think, is it FDA is like 2 or 3 years, right?
For I don't know what it is over there.
Doing clinical trials. Well, I know when I was working at the pharmaceutical company, you have like, I think you have 3 main trials, and you've got to pass them, and it takes a long time to do that, which I'm sure and if he's hiring all those people, I've been taking copies of the screenshots and looking at, the people that he's planning on bringing in. I mean, he's planning on bringing a robotics person, software person, biology person, neuroscience person. So he's still doing work.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the final. I mean, this is just, I think, like you said, I just wanted to show proof of concept. So now if people have that skill set and they can, then he can talk to them and say, okay, we're actually doing it in the pigs. This is where we are. This was, someone we're going to, someone we did, someone has it now, and someone who is fine afterwards. That is proof of concept. Now you can start to get in the players he's probably really like to have in his shop, right?
You think about Geordie when he was doing his recruiting drive. I mean, remember his recruitment presentation, the tsunami of demons? He had the Freaky Friday poster in the background. Remember it, Jimmy?
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's how you work the crowd. That's how you get a kind of thirst going for whatever you're presenting, right?
Right, and he built a lot of enthusiasm. There's really no enthusiasm coming from Musk on this one. He seems lackadaisical and
he doesn't seem the same as when he's talking about his SpaceX.
No, he's not. He doesn't.
Guys, this is a chip though in someone's brain.
I know.
I personally think he's doing a really good job from that perspective.
Absolutely.
I mean, if he was talking like this was a space trip, I would really turn me off. You're messing with people's heads. Look, I'm not giving it a nay or a yay here. I'm just saying I think his tone is really pretty good for what he's doing. I think if he did SpaceX tone, I think that'd really scare a lot of people. It's like, oh my God, who is this guy? But I think for today, I think he's doing a really good job of just kind of lowballing it a little bit. I'm just saying from my perspective.
See, I'd have dragged in Geordie. I'd have gone full wizard.
No. Geordie scared the heck out of everybody, Kev. Are you kidding? Everyone still talks. Everyone, if they bring up Geordie Rose on any YouTube, they're still talking about the aliens that are coming through D-Wave.
I know.
He did not do himself any favors. He was entertaining.
But from a marketing point of view, he knew exactly what he was doing.
There's a reason Elon Musk is doing this chip. I think the real question is who and why. Why is Elon doing? Why in particular is Elon doing the chip, and what does he really want out of it?
Well, people don't want to hear my answer to that because they'll just say I'm shilling for Elon. But
go ahead, chill.
I do think that people like him and Geordie and Bezos and all these other real top cats that have access to the real AI, I think he's seen it. And I think he's tried to figure out how do we even try and compete with this. And on the other side, we'll get into how the chip might be the answer. Don't go anywhere. Now that was nice timing, even though I didn't try and time it like that myself, I'm telling you. That was pretty good timing, yes indeed. Now, I don't know how I get rid of your names, that's the way. I had your names over your faces again on Skype there, but all good in the hood. These are back now. Yes. So when we come back on the other side, we'll get into why I think he's doing it. I honestly think at some point he had a look at an AI that we haven't seen. And I only say that because in one of his more famous kind of discussions when he's talking about literally the chip. We're gonna have to, you know, merge with it to kind
Yeah.
of keep up pace with it, and I think it's born out of that. I truly do. That's just my opinion. But again, people say, "But Kev, you're just shilling for Elon," and maybe a little bit, although he doesn't pay me. Wish he would. But when we come back on the other side, we'll obviously get Jimmy's thoughts and what you think, why you think he's doing it as well.
I'm not bashing on the Musk man, you know, but I mean, literally, I think, you know, honestly, just some of the stuff that I've seen, just, you know, nanotechnology wise, it seems really clunky to me that he would go this route, that have to have a battery that has to be charged, that kind of thing.
I think you're right, Jimmy. I do. I think that's a very, very good point, and especially considering how a lot of us feel that we already have nanotech running in our bodies anyway through chemtrails. God knows what's in the jab. If all of us go get the jab, how they want that to, you know, go crazy. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is almost sort of archaic, which kind of leads me to wonder again, why is he doing this? And then why are we doing it on the pigs? And why is it in this time frame? And what's the real reason for bringing him in?
Yes, exactly. What is the real reason? What is the real reason? I think the real reason is because he wants us all to be able to log into Twitter from our heads. No, I don't. I don't know. You know, maybe if they could keep... How can you keep a technology just for the good aspects of it and help people with brain injuries? You can't really. It would be a very utopic kind of viewpoint to take, because, you know, somebody's going to take this and... Listen, this is only one company. There could be multiple companies out there that aren't publicly telling us what they're doing, you know?
No, there is all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, I did a couple of shows on this a while back. I mean, they got monkeys moving joysticks with their minds right now. I mean, they got people that have never been able to see, or they can see. They got people learning how to walk with two legs.
Here we go. Here we go.
I mean, monkeys steering wheelchairs with their minds, literally.
Here we go. We're just waiting for the clock to get us back here. And then we'll get back into the Matrix. The Matrix within the Matrix. I think he kind of oversold it when he said that we would be looking at the Matrix within the Matrix. I don't think he quite achieved that kind of selling point for today's presentation, to be honest with you. And unless that pig that wouldn't come out from behind the curtain was the Matrix and the Matrix, I don't know. It's not playing anymore.
He got smarter. He joined the union. He said he wasn't coming out unless he got some money.
I ain't playing. Here we go.
Paying me enough.
Here we go. There we go. I forgot the Wookiee at the start of Freaky Friday. Not this time, though. I'm Kev Baker. We've got Nanogirl with us and the one and only Jimmy Genes. Now, before the break, Nano was asking me and asking all of us why we think Musk has been inspired to even bother creating some kind of Neuralink. Guy's worth about $2 billion as it is already. He's going to be making way for Mars soon enough. What does he care? And that's a good question, isn't it? Why is he getting into this game? And like I said before the break, and I could be 100% wrong. He could be the biggest liar in the world and he's conned me. But, you know, when you watch enough interviews of anyone, you get a kind of taste for the way they roll. And the way he talks about AI, the threat of AI, the transhumanist kind of stuff, that artificial general intelligence that may or may not be here right now, but is definitely going to be here at some point. I really do. My scenario is him maybe having a couple of cocktails with other tech moguls, you know. Probably went down to the lab one night, took the Lambo down, a couple of bottles of champers. I don't know how these billionaires roll. But somebody probably said, come on, see the latest, like, cutting edge AI. Could have been the Google lab. They've got the D-Wave. Let's just say it was the Google lab. They go in there, they take a look at the deep mind that we've not seen yet. I know we've seen the one that can beat everyone at chess and the Chinese game of Go and all that good stuff. Dota. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. But what about the big one? The one that we haven't seen yet. And I think whatever Elon Musk's seen, oh man, it caused him to think, how do we stop this from rendering us obsolete, irrelevant, left behind? And it's a nice story. It's a romantic ode about how I think it came about. Probably way away from what actually happened. But again, I'll just kind of pour some. If it's going to help injured people, then hey, how can it be a bad thing? But Jimmy, why do you think he's got into this game? And what do you think the bigger picture might be, man?
I think this is really, this device is so blatant and overt that I would expect something with a little bit more finesse. Simply because, what's available, like, for example, when you look back at, say, the Google Glass, it's like that perceptive idea of having the ability to have access to computing, via your eyeball moving around. I can go with that. It makes sense, but the thing about it is I just can't understand why the bulky connection. It seems more like the world we're living in, the nanotechnology world, the world where Morgellons is a self-replicating fiber optic network in your body from nanoparticles that come from the sky. At the point that you believe that's possible, then why the battery, Nano? Can't we run off saline? Or doesn't it seem a little, I don't even know. I don't even know. Yeah.
Well,
it just seems
I think the thing that really, again, that disturbs me more than anything is the connection to the Bluetooth and the your phone. It's like, what? That bothers me. We're not further ahead than that. I agree with you. And people can get malware in any kind of technological thing, right? So like that could happen to your phone. One of my friends, his phone went dead. Somebody sent him some malware and that was the end of the phone. So I when it comes to the nanotechnology, I guess I really don't know enough about reversing it. Like, again, if you have some kind of nanotechnology in your brain and it's doing what somebody wants it to do, can you reverse that? What does that look like? How would that do what he's trying to do? And he did mention the spine, right? So this is like maybe for spinal injuries or something like that.
I feel that the idea put forward that you can download a consciousness to some sort of a device and then re-upload that consciousness to a different form. So in order to be able to do that, you have to really understand the language of the software of the brain. So they don't have a full understanding of the language to write software for your brain. They don't even understand the software and how it works, because when I close my eyes and I imagine a puppy or whatever, I can see that puppy in my mind's eye. These devices need to understand that. I think maybe we stumbled onto what this is all about. Maybe these implantable archaic devices here are going to be rudimentary devices to understand the reading and writing of the software language that the brain uses, because that's really what they need to create something in your brain, to create a dream or to create a memory, that type of thing. You remember that? You remember the movie with the Spotless Mind, where the guy, he was in love with a girl, he wanted to forget about her, so he went to this service, and they were going to erase her out of his mind. It was with Jim Carrey. It's the same. it's the same kind of idea, you know. Could your memories be erased? Could you, you know, I don't know. It's an interesting conversation today. Thanks for inviting me, you guys. I
was going to add to what you were saying. We already know that we have military capability of sending messages to people's minds already.
Exactly.
Right?
So I think, you see, what we definitely got that, like you say. I mean, we've seen the DARPA stuff, everything else. Jimmy,
Right,
you
right.
talked about how they can put the kind of voice in your head anyway. I think we're kind of, I think they've got the reading and writing. I really do believe that. Reason being, you've seen how they can take somebody's neurons firing with one of those, like the swimming cap, as I call it, with the multiple things coming out of it. You look like the guy out of Hellraiser with all the pins in your head.
Right.
And they're able to basically recreate what, like you said, the puppy, Jimmy, right? The puppy that you picture in your mind's eye. And you can go and watch that. You see it on YouTube. It's not quite as clear as the puppy that you're probably seeing, Jim. But you can start to see how they're reading enough of those neurons firing to be able to convert it into an image on a screen. So that tells me that they've got some level of the operating system, you know. So how far advanced are they? But that's the question. And is it archaic looking? And even when we call it archaic, I mean, what are we comparing it to? Because I don't have any other brain chip, and I can't even think of another brain chip to compare it to. And maybe this Bluetooth to the thing, is it archaic because it's shielded so that people can't tap into it? Is it... it's like we don't know very much about something now that we've had 2 presentations on, and we're still left with more questions than answers, you know? That's what it feels like, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
Isn't the hacking of your Bluetooth, I mean, isn't that one of the key ways that people get into your phone and get into your whole scene?
Well, we don't know how they're going to do it, though. We don't know what kind of verification there's going to be on it. I mean, we're kind of guessing here, you know?
Might not be a Bluetooth protocol, but still in all, I mean, requiring that separate device, eliminate the middleman. I mean, you got the, you know what I mean? You got the phone in your hand already. I mean, why do you got to think it? What is it? Is it so much of an effort to, you
Like
know?
Nano said, maybe was it version something, or this is like early kind of version 1? Does version 2 or 3? Do we ditch the cell phone? Does it, you know? Is that what kind of thing we're talking about? I don't know here. It's weird.
Well, you know, it's really funny, but, you know, there was a movie called The President's Analyst that was put out back in the 70s starring James Coburn.
Yep.
And basically what it is the phone company is basically behind everything. But there's this one scene where the head guy from the phone company, it's called TPC. He brings this guy downstairs, and I'm telling you, this is in the 70s. And he says in there, he basically describes this whole Neuralink that Elon Musk came up with all on his own. Basically describes it bit by bit. And talks about exactly that they don't want to have all the messy phones and all the wires and everything, how they just want to be able to have the phone right in your head. And so I don't know, man. It's a pretty interesting.
I think it would still probably be more practical to have like something like Google Glass. Remember them, Jimmy? Like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think that people would probably be more happy with some kind of augmented reality that you could get via the glass as opposed to some implant. That way, if you wanted it, you know, you've seen it on films like Anonymous and any techie kind of film. You're walking down the street and you got people's kind of profile above their heads, that kind of thing. I thought that's the kind of thing that the Neuralink would bring with it, you know, that kind of jazz.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll tie it into some sort of a Google Glass type device. So you have
when
this.
If it's connected to your phone, why can't it come up on the screen and show what you're thinking?
Exactly, and what's to stop other apps from saying, do you give us permission for X, Y, Z, and right at the bottom where you don't read, to access to your thoughts via your Neuralink?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and if they're asking, they're just going to be taking them.
Exactly.
I don't think anybody has.
Exactly.
If you put this in your brain, it's theirs on every level. And I wonder again if they're using Elon as more of a front man. He's very likable. Everybody likes him, and who else to announce this?
Oh, Nano,
sell
I'll
it.
show you my email box later. Not everybody likes him. I can assure.
Well,
I can assure you that he has got some big haters out there. Big haters.
Front man, though. Let's just be honest. Elon Musk is not sitting out on his back deck somewhere with a pad of paper, psyching up some brain implants. Okay, he's out partying it up. He's got whole teams of people that are doing this stuff. He is the front man. He's the marketing man for the ideas and for the technology that he's been given by the agencies, to run out there and use as a money making tool. But I mean, realistically, they're gaining in knowledge from behind there. None of this stuff goes out. Hey, I'll guarantee you, there's a section of whatever it is that says, he has to use this particular piece of in his equation that he has to buy from Joe down the street there, and you can only buy it from him. And that guy's got a whole program that's written into the firmware of some chip that you don't even know about that exists on a board that doesn't look like a chip. There's even there's chips on it. I mean, realistically, come on, Nano. I mean, we're in the age of ectoplasmic computing. I mean, they're already moving away from the physical boards and circuits that we're used to. So I'm just, for some reason, this just stands out to me as odd. It's an odd advancement, especially for, the promotional tool known as Elon Musk. I mean, I was expecting something a little bigger. Or no, a little smaller, actually.
I was expecting something smaller. I didn't know that he was putting it in animals, so that's kind of interesting. Again, I've expressed all my biggest concerns, and I haven't changed them. Today didn't change my mind at all.
I mean, why not have a chimpanzee on there, with a baseball cap on with a super flat brim? It's got his
I'm sure they do have a chimpanzee that they're probably testing this on.
He's got his cell phone out, he's making calls or whatever. He's I mean, that would have been impressive. But the pig
would that have impressed you or scared you?
No, that would impress me. I'd say, look at this monkey. All he needed was that chip. Now here we go. He's
super smart.
And we're one step away. We're one degree of separation away from Planet of the Apes.
I wonder if that would have impressed people or scared more people. I would love to know that.
They probably got a whole gang of apes back in the back room already over there but they didn't want to roll those out.
Nope.
I don't think it matters what Musk does. People either like him or they hate him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter what he does. He could come out tomorrow and end cancer, and people would still be negative about it. So
yeah.
I don't think it matters what people do. I really don't. Me personally, not the presentation I expected. A whole heap of build-up felt like. I thought the last year's one, where we found out about the kind of robot and everything else, I thought we actually felt like we learned more there than we did in this one. I don't know. Maybe if I watch the questions later on, maybe he goes a bit deeper into it. There's probably more to gain there. Yeah, I thought he was beyond recruiting. Put it that way. I thought we were getting closer to more of an end product. But yeah, for me, it's watch this space on this one, I must admit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think this might require a little more pondering. I mean, we're kind of giving our first impressions, and you guys have both brought up some really, really good points. I kind of wonder if he's like the perfect front man for something like this, because it is related to medical and health, but not that I think he's super qualified. He's not a doctor, right? He's just the guy who's providing the money. But I don't know. I have to do more thinking about it, but I think you're right. It's not as advanced perhaps as we would have thought or liked to have seen.
I think probably a future presentation might be an idea to show some proof of concept. You know, take somebody that has a genuine brain injury and show us the improvement that it makes to them. You know,
or spinal injury.
Yeah. Let's get away from the kind of like the add-ons and the apps that we'll be able to put in there and play Pokemon in between our ears and things. But you know, if we see that practical side of it, I think that would probably make me more confident that we're onto something here. You know, as opposed to it just being a front for something that we don't see coming.
But I'm going to add too, this being a technological company, they're not going to show you everything that they're working on and how far along they are.
I'm surprised they showed us the robot.
It's going to remain a secret for now. So they probably have a lot of stuff in the back room that, you know, or their labs or whatever, they're not showing us. And
so let me ask both of you then. Out of all the technologies coming our way, which technology excites you the most and which technology scares you the most? And I'll come to you first, Jimmy. Out of everything that's out there right now, everything that they're talking about in the near future, you know, what's your good thing and what's your bad thing that you've kind of seen?
Bucky paper and carbon fibers, and the use of this technique for you know, just about everything. It conducts electricity, it transmits data. You know, there's a lot of uses for it, and so I mean, I think that is going to be a big part of the future. You know, I think the sensor technology that's coming about is going to be really important in the future, just in general. The stuff that scares me, I mean, none of this stuff really scares me. I mean, I'm a futurist. I'm interested in all of this. You know, I'm interested in the solutions that the future offer. You know, I get quite disappointed, you know, a lot of the times because no matter what happens with technology, it always seems to get turned back around that it's the mark of the beast or whatever. You know, but I mean, I honestly think moving into the future, you know what? Let me change my you know, the future looks a lot brighter with quantum blockchain ID to me. You know, I mean, once we have the positive ID, then after that, anything's possible. So if it's unhackable, we can vote with it. We can buy and sell with it. But it sounds just like the mark of the beast, right?
Yeah, they can also turn you off with it.
Yeah, it sounds like the mark of the beast. Everybody's afraid of it because once you accept the buying and selling aspect of something, it, you know, automatically looks like the mark of the beast. And I mean, of course, you're going to have a number, right? Numbers and computers go together. But I think everybody's fear of the mark of the beast does a lot to hold us back from the technology that's available. You can't just come out and say, you know what, man, I'm making a Neuralink. You don't have to come out and say you're doing it because you want to help the paraplegics or whatever.
I know, but nobody's ever there's no technology that's never been made because people have been on YouTube saying it's the mark of the beast. Like, nothing's been scrapped because there's been like an outcry. Barcodes were a big thing with Christians, but we've still got barcodes. So I don't think that there's always going to be people that voice opposition, be it on religious, cultural, whatever grounds they come up with. But does it really stop what's coming our way?
No.
No.
It just prolongs it into these having to go through these incremental movements. You know, oh, we got a personal computer. Okay, it had an 88 processor, and then it had a 256K, then it was 512, and now, you know, I mean, it's, you know, we're being spoon-fed because people don't want to move into the future. Everybody wants to stay where they are in the past. It seems like to me, I don't know. I mean, look, realistically, we are on the forefront of we could have a planet that was unbelievable. We could have autonomous communities with Elon's Starlink project, the ability to have 5G anywhere on the planet. that makes anything possible at that point. If I'm living in a built-up industrialized society like America, which happens to be supposedly in a lot of ways some of the highest, the greatest infrastructure ever built in the world, but by today's standards, it's archaic. It'd be better to be a third world country and start your country from scratch with the technology that's available right now. You don't need to have all those telephone poles. You don't need. You can get fiber in there. Once you got the signal from the sky, boom. You're pulling signal. Now you're sending that signal along a piece of fiber. You can pull water out of the air. You can grow food. I mean, all the things that you can do.
Well, let's get Nano before the break, before we run out of time here. Nano, best and least thing you're looking forward to?
My favorite is robotics and robots. I'm really excited about them. I love them. I think
we need to get you your very own Pepper.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
The last one I saw, she had a mask on, but we'll take it off. The other thing that I'm excited about is time travel, and I still think that there's some version of it out there. We may not understand it, and also controlling time. I think just my experience of this last couple of years, I just feel like we sort of go in and out of time that it feels like it stops and starts, and then the overlay of these other realities. And I think the other thing that I find exciting is kind of going in and out of other realities. We seem to be doing that a lot. I don't understand how that's all happening, but I feel like I'm experiencing it.
Do you think then that? Sorry, but do you think then? You mentioned you'd heard me yesterday talking about how I play videos on 1.5 speed. I've been thinking about it, maybe overthinking it, and I've been kind of equating it to the mind that's wanting more info because it's now used to the info that's out there. And this increase in info, the way that we're able to access it, the way it comes at us more and more over the years, do you think this ties into the way that time is perceived to be speeding up? Because we're processing more on a daily basis?
I still think we don't exactly know what time is, but it's not a clock. And I think it is connected to our consciousness somehow. And I think we do have some kind of control, and it's a matter of learning what it is. So to answer your question, yes. And I think that there are beings on the planet that do understand how it works, and they're playing with it. And I think that's why we have all these sort of Mandela effects or all these other things we're seeing and experiencing. I think about that kind of stuff all the time. I think we're really affected by it right now, personally. That's what I think.
Well, we're going to discuss this very topic on the other side. Time, woo. Jimmy's looking good for that one. He's looking up for a bit of time. Not travel, time talk. And when we come back on the other side of the break, have I got a massive, absolutely blockbuster A-list announcement to make for an upcoming show that I'm going to be a part of, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And I can tell you this is huge. If I won't give anything else away right now. After the break, I'll let you all know. Bill Bean has been a very, very busy guy. We obviously do Warrior Mode with him on a Sunday. And yes, I'll be announcing that after the break. And don't forget, coming up on Freaky Friday, not on Freaky Friday, after Freaky Friday, get it right, Kev, our good friend Brent Thomas will take you through the paranormal portal. And don't worry, I've got Woo on the way later on as well. So join us after the break. There we go. Yes, got a big guest coming on. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. I must admit, I say he's a big guest. I actually, because I'm not really big into the genre that this character comes from, I didn't actually know them. But I'm assured that this is quite a big deal. I think Jimmy might know him.
No, you asked me. You asked me earlier. I never heard of the guy.
Never heard of him. Well, it's gonna be big anyway. I'm gonna say it's gonna be big. I need to big it up. It's gonna be huge.
It's giant, man. It's giant. Just because I never heard of him doesn't mean anything.
I've never heard of him either, but so I'm, you know. But listen, we'll find out after the break, and yeah, when we come back after the break, then at that brilliant show with Epic Journeyman the other night, absolutely awesome. We touched on time there before the break, so I'll be coming to you guys to get your thoughts on the Mandelas, the times, the shift in reality, the weirdness, the woo of it all that kind of good stuff after the break. And Nano, I have to thank you because you came in, you parachuted in here. I'm shamelessly keeping you for another half hour now. Do you notice how I engineered that? I just kind of told you were staying. You see?
No, you gotta stay for sure.
Yep.
You better stay.
She was only going to come for an hour, and now we just have to kind of snib the Skype. Don't let her out. That's it.
Okay, I need to take 1 minute. I'll be right back.
No problem. You go do that.
You've been monitoring the chat over on YouTube
No,
yourself?
I haven't. No.
Okay, there's a dude over there called I think he's called Chaka Khan. Okay.
I'll put your cameras back when Nano comes. I'm not going to fix it. I'll just leave it.
He says he has an implant. He says he's got CT scans of it. He says he's talking since we've been doing the whole show. He's been putting comments in there, and he thinks you didn't see it, which you didn't. So
no, I didn't. I'm like running. I don't think people realize how many things I've got running here to do the simulcast. So I barely get a chance to look, dude.
That's why I was telling him. So, hey, dude, in the chat, Chaka Khan, send Kev an email. What's your email address, Kev? I forget it.
You can get it on the website. You can get it on my channel. It's on there. I'm not giving out a Gmail on here, dude.
Send him an email, Chaka Khan, because I'm sure he'd be interested in finding out about what you're talking about.
It does sound interesting, definitely.
He says he's got video of all this on what he's saying to prove that he's got an implant or whatever. So, might be interesting, man.
Might be. Christy Bell says the Netflix series Dark's about time travel. That's one of the better series I've seen in recent times. Christy, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. That is a mind melter. Every time the new season came on, I'd have to go back and watch the previous season, because even when I just watched like the finale to catch up to try and remember what was going on, maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm just dementia, Dan. I don't know, but I tell you, it was worth going back and catching up, because that there, if you're into time travel, another good show if you're into that is Travelers. That's another good one. That's a really good take on time travel. That's like a consciousness transfer. They come from the future, and because they know when everyone deletes from this timeline, when they expire, then basically they hijack that meat suit, that vehicle, the body, just at the time when that soul leaves, this consciousness jumps in. It's fantastic. Here we go. There we go. There is the demented Wookiee, and it's only demented because it's like its owner, me. And I think I've got early onset dementia coming on here, because when I go to watch multiple seasons of a show, anytime the new season comes on, it's not enough anymore just to watch the finale of the last one to remind me. I'm kind of sitting there scratching my head thinking, how did they get to this point? So I end up having to watch the whole season again. But that's no bad thing, especially when it's a TV show like Dark on Netflix. Somebody had mentioned that over on YouTube. Brilliant show. If you haven't checked it out, please do. Especially if you're into time travel. It's German, but they've dubbed it English over the top. And the content, the story's that good that you soon forget about the odd time the lip sync is kind of out of whack. But the storyline, absolutely brilliant. Travelers, that's another good time travel TV show that I've seen in recent years. And it's time indeed that we're going to be talking about in just a moment, because I promised you I would let you know who's going to be coming on to Warrior Mode on Sunday the 6th of September. Any of you out there heard of Billy Joel? I'm sure plenty of people have heard of Billy Joel, right? Well, I've not got Billy Joel coming on to the show. But I do have his drummer. Yes, this is look at Nanogirl. Yeah, Nanogirl's loving a bit of this. This is somebody called Liberty. Anne's laughing. Anne's laughing. She knows Billy Joel as well, but she thinks I say his name wrong. But Billy Joel, Billy Joel, however you pronounce it, Liberty DeVito is going to be coming onto the show with me, Bill, and Travis Short. So, Nanogirl, you're looking quite excited about that.
Hey, that's exciting.
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. We've got so that's musicians that are coming on there. I can tell you that we've got one of the bigger names in paranormal research, as in like TV paranormal research. They're going to be coming on in the next few weeks. We've got a couple of wrestlers that are going to be coming on to that show. I know. Warrior mode, I tell you. You'd be surprised who listens to that show. I know I am constantly, but yeah. Next week, we're going to have the drummer from Billy Joel's band, Liberty DeVito. Almost forgot his name again. So with that said, let us have a little conversation. Look at Jimmy. You excited about that one, Jimmy? Going all wrestlers and all A-list stuff going on, man. What's happening here?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, everybody loves the Kev Baker.
Oh, it's all Bill, this one. It's all Bill.
Bill loves the Kev Baker, and you know you're one step removed by proxy.
Well, true. And then Nano, you were thanking Bill earlier on today, weren't you? Because he certainly gave a shout out to everyone in California. You know.
I'm crediting his prayers and the prayers of all of your listeners, people that prayed last Sunday. You know, we were supposed to have that storm, and I was worried that would be, you know, that would kind of fuel the fires some more. And after the prayers, it didn't happen, and certainly didn't happen to say this that they said it was going to happen, and everything started reversing the next day. Like they started getting containment, and everything got better. So I'm telling you, in prayers, intention.
Yep. And
intention is everything, right? So as far as I'm concerned, it was the Sunday show that made a difference. I'm sticking to it.
No, it's like I said to you. Sorry, Jimmy. It's like I said to Nano earlier. Bill would never take credit for it. I would never claim it was definitely Bill that had an effect on anything. But I'm like you.
Right.
If you've got maybe even a couple hundred people that are praying, then I don't know. I certainly can't say it didn't help. It didn't do any harm.
You know how people say they felt the prayers? I felt it. I felt like the next day was the first time in about a week that I didn't feel all tight inside, like nervous. So anyway.
On you go, Jim. Sorry, I cut you off there last time, man.
No, I was just, I was just thinking, that, prayers are harmony and resonance, and it's in a direct intention, and so when we pray together, we harmonize, when we pray to, and it's like, it's like imagine the simplest prayer in the world is Om, and so the value of a bunch of people harmonizing that Om at the same frequency can generate all kinds of really great stuff. And so, it's interesting. It's funny that you brought up Bill Bean because he just friended me on Facebook, and somehow he figured out how to find me, because it's funny because my name is spelled backwards on Facebook, but I don't know how he found me. But hey, Bill.
See, dude, he's got like warrior angels and things at his back, man. You don't need to ask how these things happen. He probably found you through my page, I don't know. But however he found you, it's all good in the hood. And don't forget, you can hear me with Bill and Travis Short on Sunday. So then, time. It's something that has come up in conversation time and time again, pardon the pun, especially in recent times. There we go again. I spoke about it with Spooky Andy recently. He was talking about timelines, the ringing in the ears. Maybe we're changing realities along the way. We've had Chris Anatra on the show a number of times. Absolutely brilliant guy. Brilliant take on his take on the Mandela effects and what's going on there. And then we had Epic Journeyman come on during the week as well. And he laid out his theory on not Mandela effects, as he call it, mimetic engineering. And I definitely think there's an aspect to some of the stuff there that Epic's put together. And I think there's a whole lot of other things that we can bring to the table as well if we're going to even try and attempt to have a conversation about time and how it ties in with the weirdness of our reality, not just today, but in recent years. It's been picking up speed, right? We've had the whole Mandela thing, we've had the speeding up time, we've had more people having time slips. You had a bit of a strange experience yourself, Nano. I don't know if you want to share it. You and your neighbour, I think you both thought you were doing one thing, but another thing was happening, and
Yeah, I was just thinking of sharing that. Speaking of time,
synchronicity, Nano. You should know I would lead you there.
I know, you're so good. All right, so I'll make this story short. So I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and so I went to the store, and I went to Trader Joe's and Safeway, and so I was at Trader Joe's, and I was going to get some cream, and I thought, no, I don't want Trader Joe cream. I'm going to go to Safeway cream. And I remember consciously thinking, I'm not going to get the cream here. I'll get it at Safeway. So I pay for everything at Trader Joe's. I go to Safeway, and then I just, you put the bags in the car, and I went to Safeway, and then I bought the cream at Safeway. When I got home, I had 2 things of cream. I did buy the thing at Trader Joe's, but I could have sworn, because I remember consciously thinking, I don't want this cream. So 2 hours later, my neighbor pings me on the phone and says, can you let me into the laundry room? I blocked myself out. So I ran over there and brought the key, and she kept digging in her pockets looking for the key. And I was standing there right watching her, and she couldn't find it. She must have looked 4 or 5 times, and she went in the house. She came back. She did it one more time. And then she went in the house, and she dug in her pockets, and the key was there. And so I pinged her, and I said, I think both of us were in the, because I told her about what happened with the cream. I said, how could that have gotten in my basket when I pretty much said I wasn't going to get it? And I remember leaving it on the shelf in Trader Joe's. It's like, no, I don't want that. I don't like that kind. And it felt like for that few minutes that we were having this discussion, that the things in our lives disappeared and came back, but they sort of it was like, which reality? For those few moments, were we crossing over in different realities? And we got to share that with each other. And that's something that I'm experiencing more and more. And a lot of times I'll notice it. It's like, you'll lose something and you can't find it, but now it's in the other reality, and you're going to have to wait till it comes back. Now, what is that? I mean, and you think, okay, I'm so forgetful, and I dropped it somewhere and I lost it, and maybe you do have that feeling, but then you think, well, is this one of those times where the universe took it, or I was in universe A, but now I'm in B, so it isn't here in B, but it's going to show up later, or I'll drift over to A again. However you say that.
This is weird, because you didn't really explain to me what happened, kind of thing, but I remember in the past couple of weeks, me and Anne were doing something. I can't remember the exact details, but it was very like what you're talking about there. Like, we were both looking for the same thing. We had both seen it in one place, looking about mad everywhere else, ended up giving up on it. And then it was exactly where it was in the first place anyway.
Yep. Yeah, that's happening a lot. And so what is that?
Yeah. Jimmy, what do you make of that malarkey, man?
Well, the thing is there's something to what you guys are saying, because there's a lot of people. I'm not going to say a lot of people, but there's some people that are saying that this thing that happened, that we've been going through, and I'm not going to mention it by name, but you know what I'm talking about, for the last 9 months. That something happened in the middle of that, and we jumped timelines, and that's why it didn't go in the way that everybody expected it to. In other words, we didn't see the things we thought we were gonna see, because somehow in the middle of that they changed timelines and we didn't have the negative effects that we might have seen, then I think it's an interesting concept, because all the measures would stay in place, which are all the things that tie into what's going to happen in the future with the smart cities and, traveling around the world and the way we're going to do. So it's an interesting, it happens to me all the time, where stuff is there. I know it was there and then it's not there. And then I go back and it's there.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting idea that,
The only problem I have with the jump in timeline scenario, and I've thought about it, is how come it's really, really convenient that we always jump into one where it's pretty much the same as our own? Like, when you jump onto another timeline, luckily any time I might have done it, if I have done it, it's always been Anne's been my partner on the other timeline. Still had Kevin as a son. Do you see what I'm saying there, though? How come you don't end up on a timeline where maybe you're an absolute goofball, you never met Anne, or I never met Anne, and maybe didn't come out the army?
Because you're still in the same place. You don't move. It's all happening in the same moment. You don't move anything. Nothing moves except for the perception of the reality. The vibration or whatever it is. However they use CERN to blink out whatever happens in that moment that Geordie Rose talks about, that's not neither here nor there. It's not a 1 or a 0. That place is where it slips. But you don't move. So of course everybody's going to be there for you. That's there.
Or maybe we're not slipping in and out of timelines. Like, let's take the keys or the thing that you guys thought you saw that was there, and then it what if it comes in and out of reality?
I think
what
it's
if
like
what if those things are coming in and out of our reality? Like, I do think for some reason, I don't know why, I'm able to create things much more easily and quicker than I have in the past. I've noticed that. I'm manifesting things faster. Like, something happened today and then there it was. I'd wanted it and it came in a way I didn't expect it and it was there. So what if the cream or the keys, whatever, if we sort of blank on the manifestation for a minute and it disappears, but then it comes back and it is based on something we're doing. In other words, we are already learning how to manage and manifest at a different level.
Yeah,
I wanted the cream. I was in Trader Joe's. It got in my basket. It had nothing to do with me putting it in there. I wanted it. And then I went to Safeway and I had it there too. Right? So I manifested it twice. So it was something I did. Maybe I put it in the cart and I just didn't realize I did, which I'm sure could have happened, obviously. And she was digging for the keys and she just couldn't find them, but she had to focus. She was frantically looking for something, which it never happens when you do that. But once she calmed down, because she knew I told her I'd make a copy for her, then she found it, because then she was focused. So what if this is really about us manifesting? It isn't about a different reality, Kev. You're probably right. But it's more about manifestation and how we're starting to be able to do that differently.
Yeah.
You got to wonder why they're ramping up their insanity out there for all of us to, get clamped down and be in, whatever. It may be because we are evolving and we don't have any choice. The planet is, in fact, I think you had someone on your show that said the planet is evolving, we're evolving, there's nothing we can do about it. We have to do that to stay alive. So this is part of it, is this manifestation and creating our own little things in our own universe.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about it, especially since Epic's been on, and the keys is a good example. Because you got to look at it there. What could be going on? Could we be jumping onto a different timeline where everything's the same apart from those keys? I don't know. Is it more likely that we stay where we are, but for some reason we can't see the keys anymore to the point where they're not there? It's as if,
that's right.
Occam's razor would say it's more likely that we're not going anywhere ourselves. It's It's the way that we are decoding reality around us.
Well, I think the whole game for a long time, and for the most part, it's been capturing the human imagination and keeping people from realizing that they do have the potential to manifest whatever it is that they want to create. And you don't even have to get weird about it, manifesting things you want to create. It comes from a step-by-step process of intention and trying to get somewhere. So even if you just take it on from the basic level of, like a self-helpy kind of thing, where you just make a list and, you do what's on that list, and step by step you get to a place. So if our attention is diverted by all these things, it's impossible. It's impossible to even find a quiet moment. And so, when you have a planet full of potential, which we have, but we also have a planet that's mostly full of unconscious creators for the most part. So people are creating and manifesting every day in their lives for the most part. And what they're doing a lot of times is manifesting and creating exactly what they don't want. Because internal dialogue is conversation with the universe. The universe doesn't, for example, the universe doesn't decide if something's good or bad. You know what I mean? So for example, if I pray to quit smoking, maybe I'll have to lose a lung to do it. You know what I mean? So I have to be real careful about what I say to the universe, because the universe doesn't understand. It wants to provide me with what it is that I want. So if I focus myself on things that are negative, so for example, let's say you talk about the filter bubble known as the Alex Jones show. You got millions of people every day with their imaginations are captured by the negativity and stuff that's going on in the world. And the world's going to end. And the bigger that audience gets and the more intense the focus becomes on the negative outcome of what is being put forward, then we can only end up there. Where else can we end up if we're all thinking that? We can't end up someplace where we're going to be able to have a utopia and a beautiful future, Nano, can we?
I think that's why we all graduate. I mean, God love Alex Jones. I'm not nailing him at all, but I think that's why we when we're learning and we're growing and we're becoming awake and aware, we kind of gravitate to different levels. Maybe I did Alex for a while, and then I thought, okay, well, this is crazy. I'm going to move to the next level.
Exactly, Nano. If he's not for you, then move on.
I move on. And so now I'm very careful about what I'm listening to. Is it going to help me understand why I'm putting cream in my why am I putting 2 things of cream when I only want, but it's more about how am I manifesting and why, and how can I control it, and I want to evolve this lifetime. That is a conscious intention of mine. And that's my focus. So everything I do is about how am I going to be able to channel, like you said, the positive energy and the affirmations and making an impact on other people, because that's all part of the the ascension of the soul, right? Is going to that next level. Is you don't want to drag all the karma with you. You want to clean up the karma and then move. And I think the lighter you are, the easier you're going to have it for elevating yourself to the next level. So I agree with you.
Yes, indeed. I thought Jimmy was going to jump in there because he was making hand signals when you were talking.
I was waiting for the Jimmy to.
I was there, but I was listening to what you were saying, because it was going to affect what I was going to say. And I want to make sure I was hearing what you were saying. I was only pointing at Alex Jones because it's a really extreme example of negativity. In other words, everybody, I listen to Alex Jones occasionally in the morning because I want to hear what he's thinking. Let's see what's going on. But the point I was trying to make is that, as a people, as a humanity, if there was some way to lock the consciousness of the planet in on an intention of a beautiful golden, golden future, then that future would have nothing to do but happen. Because if everybody had that goal in mind and everybody worked towards that goal nonstop and tirelessly, then that's the only place we can end up. It's 100% sure that that's where we'll end up. But the other way, the way that we're going now, we're focused on all these ways that we're trying to, tear it down, tear each other down. It's like that Rush song, Subdivisions. It's like everything's so subdivided to the point that there's always two sides to every argument. Things are divided in such a way that every single place there's this way and that way. There's two sides. There's two groups that argue against each other. And it's done like, everybody talks about the pyramid. Well, we got a pyramid scheme going on with that type of mentality.
Yeah. I'm wondering, though, if we're also getting something different out of this as well. In other words, we're also coming through this with our own thoughts about, let me say this differently. When I have discussions with people now and friends, and they're a certain way and I'm a certain way, I often come away feeling more confident than I've ever felt before, that I'm fine where I'm at. Where before this happened, I might have been a little more wishy-washy about it, or 50-50 or whatever. But maybe that's not a bad thing. In other words, it's forcing me to have clarity on everything that I'm feeling, and feeling even more certain that that's important. And it's also looking at what happens when we're divided. I agree with you on that it's not a good thing. I would rather have your option, where we're all thinking positive and we're creating a positive planet. I agree with that. But there must be something that we all need where we are, because we've created this. And somebody said that recently. It's like, we created this for a reason. And so now it's like, what are we going to get out of this?
Well, I don't know. The social engineering that we're living in right now, the reality that we're living in, is we could never get to that utopic moment that I was describing a little while ago, because everybody wants their particular idea of the utopia to be the one. And so and they'll fight to the death over it. So, everybody wants to have it their particular way, specifically. And so, it's hard to get to where we're going. So we're back to where we were, which is unconscious creators. And the timeline just slipped back to the beginning of the conversation that we were having, which was, I wish we could just bounce. I mean, I was thinking about it after we brought it up. I was thinking about how it might be like a needle on a record kind of thing, where you're just in a groove and you just move over just a little bit and just a little bit and just that little bit. You adjust your vector just a little bit, and your signal improves.
I'll tell you how to increase your vector right away, and this is to everyone out there, okay? Unplug from the internet for a while. Yeah. More and more time each day, unplug. Because I'll tell you what, the more I've done it, the better my head has felt. The easier I find it to be optimistic about things, the happier I am. I'm being genuine here, folks.
Right.
Happier I am. I enjoy coming on to do the shows. I enjoy these conversations. Used to be I'd be sat here like all day long, and then up till 10 o'clock at night. And that's when the show would start. That's a long time. Long time. It flies by when you're online. Wow, 10 o'clock already, showtime. You do that for 5 years or so. 6 years or so. And then when you pull back from the internet, I tell you what, folks, just try it. Don't take my word for it. It works for me. But a lot of this reality is being created through the stimulus that they're putting into our minds. And I'll explain it on the other side. Don't go anywhere. There you go. There you go, yeah. You stare into the abyss long enough, you know what they say about that, right? And I really do think the more and more time we spend on these scrying mirrors, as as brilliant as it is, as many good things as we can do on here, at some point, you know, especially the kind of topics that I would imagine people who come to listen to this show, we're into. Some of the characters, like Jimmy mentioned there, I still watch that one every day. I'm able to kind of unplug from it and just kind of subliminally take it in because it's gone too political for me. But if you do listen to that, and you listen to other shows of a similar theme, similar nature, don't be surprised when you start to think that the world's are really, really, oh no, things are getting bad here. It's because you're listening to it all day long, whereas if you walk outside, connect or disconnect, you know, maybe go and do something away from the net. The net's still going to be here. All the big stories will still be there when you get back. All your YouTube videos are still going to be waiting. They're not going anywhere. And I don't know, just try it. I don't know, but maybe it sounds silly, guys, but I've certainly been enjoying taking more time away. It's not that I'm doing anything even more productive, Nano. It's just that I'm not like sitting here digesting all of the news all of the time. Because when you're doing that, I mean, here I am sat in Glasgow, for example, and everything that's going on in America right now, you sit and watch that 24/7, and here I am in Glasgow, and it starts to affect you psychologically, you know, and you start to think that everywhere's like that, and it's all going off like that. And even in America, not everywhere is what we see on the television right now. There's probably places over there where some people are saying, "What is there anything happening here?" And I don't know. It's just if you keep on staring at this stuff, and I'll get your guys' thoughts on this. If you're taking it in 24/7, you're doing the hard grind, and we're all trying to learn. I get it, but at some point you cross that line where, like I said before the break, I think a lot of our reality we do create. Like you say, Jimmy, we're creators. But I think we, because we don't understand our power and we don't understand how it all works, I think there's ways that they can definitely, especially with computers now. We always talked about Hollywood and subliminals. What on earth's name are they doing with 8K flicker rates? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy when you're watching. Do you know what I'm saying, though? And if we are creating our reality, if there is this kind of unconscious network where we are all connected, and you better believe we all are, because twins, you see it more in twins, it's more obvious that they're definitely connected in the same womb, everything else. But me and you, Nano, we've never met in the real world. You've got a connection to me, and people can take it or leave it. But I've been there, I've bore witness to the fact I've been stressed out about something, and I mean stressed. And then Nano will just message, "You alright?" Now, if Nano ain't picking up on something connected, quantum, entangled, I don't know. So if we are all entangled and we are all creating our reality, then just what effect is it having if we're putting all that negativity into us all the time? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I think that's part of evolving. And
We'll get it. Yeah, we'll get it. I'm just watching the clock. Sorry, Nano. I'll come to you first, then Jimmy, right? We'll get that. And then we'll get into time travel, and we'll get woo, and we'll do whatever. We'll go wherever. I need to ask you guys about what's going on in California as well, obviously. Here we go.
Okay.
And I'll bring back the network.
Sweet.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, the Spooky Wookie. I call him the Spooky Wookie because Spooky Andy does the first little Wookie roar there. But before the break, I was talking about unplugging, stepping back, taking more time for yourself, doing things in the real world, things you enjoy away from the computer, away from the internet. And there's been a talk tonight, Jimmy's mentioned it, Nano's mentioned it, how we are potentially creating our own reality. And I do think there's something to that. I was saying during the break to the guys here, mentioned it before, but Nano's a real good example of how you could demonstrate that there's a potential quantum entanglement can go on between people, and you never have to have met them. Never. And there's been times when, maybe a couple of years ago when I'd be at work, and I'd have something on my mind, and people, you can take this or leave it. Me and Nano knows it's right. And she would message me and she'd say, "Kevin, are you alright? I mean, everything okay there? Because, I don't know, I get a feeling." And she's laughing because she knows that anytime she'd done that, I'd be messaging back when this is just uncanny and whatever it would be, but we are quantumly entangled, okay? We're living in a universe where we barely know what's going on. We think we know what's going on to right up there. We're dead clever, us. But do we? Really? And if we are quantumly entangled and we are able to use intent to manifest things, which I believe we can, then just how much of a part do we play in creating everything around us? Like, subconsciously, we might not know about it. And then, what does it do when us as creators are taking in all of this information? And we know what they used to use in subliminals and stuff like that in the movies. We're now watching videos that are 8K quality, you know, flashing away. They could be layered with goodness knows what. And then how does that translate into the reality that we then create? I'll get your thoughts on it first, Nano. I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's anything to what I'm saying? Do you think I've maybe just burnt myself out and I need time away from the computer? What do you think?
No, I've had different friends in my lifetime that I just know things, you know, something will just say, you know, ping them, call them, text them, email them, contact them. I don't have to be anywhere near them. And this is the other thing that concerns me about the Neuralink. Obviously, if it's for a spinal injury or medical something like that, that's fine. But we certainly don't need to have it to connect with each other. We're already connected. That's already a done deal. And the other thing I really believe, and I've heard it from more than one, in fact, I was listening to Hicks, that's a channeled voice. I don't know if you've ever heard of Abraham Hicks, but it's a channeled voice. And I believe we come down with a group of people. We come to Earth with a group of people, and we interact with them our whole journey here, and we're connected to them. And we've probably been connected to them before. And so obviously we knew each other some other time. I probably know Ann, I probably know your son, you probably know everybody. You know, if I introduced you to my folks over here, you'd go, yeah. And I find that I've been around the planet long enough that it's like 1 degree of separation. So you kind of have this understanding of connection. Like, I know when people are going to call. I feel things. I just know. And I don't need a telephone or a Neuralink or anything like that. And that's one of the things I don't want to be disrupted about us humans. It's one of the most beautiful things about us. It is the quantum connection that we all have with each other. It's magical, mystical, wonderful, and it makes life very sweet, in my opinion. And yes, I think we do need to get away from. Someone called it doom scrolling.
Wow, I like that. I like
yeah,
it, man.
I didn't make that up, but it's doom scrolling. And at some point, you have to walk away and stop doom scrolling.
That's what got me off Facebook. It was like, why am I still doing this? And I was still doing it even when I was telling my own head. My head was arguing. It was in why, Kevin. My thumb was still going.
Can't stop.
Oh, I have
Well,
now.
I take a walk every day, and I turn it off. Like around 4 or 5 o'clock, I go, okay, I'm done. I don't care what's happening. I don't care. I just turn it off. It's like, that's enough.
That's now usually when I start. Because I've got the show at 10 o'clock at night, and I've got the stream before. Usually tea time just after then, that's when I start thinking, right. But it used to be from the minute I woke up, Jimmy. Like as in literally from the minute I woke up, on with the computer. Sometimes I would even have left it on. You know, just straight back to it. And then that would be you. You'd be sitting there, you'd be watching stuff. Maybe go on with you. You'd see somebody online, you'd be blethering with them. And you know how it goes. Now before you know it, damn, you've missed your dinner. Ready to go on to the show at night, right? And then you come off the show, your adrenaline's going, you're up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And then you're up again the next morning and boom, right back into it. And that's why I had to kind of stop that, dude. It was killing me, do you know what I mean? Literally killing me. And I could feel it. It was having an effect, you know? It's like, oh, world's terrible. Doom, gloom. Glass half empty. But then when you stop getting so invested in all of the stories that they try to drag you into online, and the social media, it puts the ones that it knows you're going to bite at right on your timeline, and they do everything they can to get you to engage with anything online. They just want your time, they want your attention, they want you pouring your life into that net, even if it's just you watching things.
Right.
When they're trying to do that, that's when I had to think, no, something has to change. And I feel a little bit better about things. I'm definitely not as close to burnout as I probably was a little while back, and I was close, I think. I don't know, I just think for all we learn, every action has an opposite and equal reaction, right? So as much as the learning, the truthing, whatever you want to call it, grows us some ways, it comes at a cost. It does come at a cost. But Jimmy, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, I'm with you. A lot of what you said, I mean, I've been through the ringer or whatever. I started out at a certain point. I went through the ringer, down the conveyor belt. I got beat to a pulp a bunch of times about the end of the world. Thought it was going to happen. Didn't, kept going. September came again. End of the world. Kept going.
September.
Yeah, it was the Masons, it was somebody else. It's this, it's that. It's all this. And you know what? Not one single bit of any of that stuff ever did me any good, dude. And I'll tell you this, the only thing I missed, I had my opportunity, I had my way out. And even then, when it showed up, I didn't believe it. Bitcoin.
Yep.
The only thing the alternative media ever gave me was the opportunity to buy Bitcoin for pennies.
And I laughed.
And I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what I was telling my mom yesterday when I was taking her to the hospital, for a doctor's appointment, and in those moments, you have little discussions or whatever. And I was saying, if you turned off your TV and you turned off your internet, man, it's crickets. Okay? There is no riots going on my mountain here. Okay? There's fires, but there's no riots. Okay? There's none of the stuff that's going on. The stuff that's going on across the face of the planet, on the whole other side of the earth. Some dude got killed. Okay? I mean, isn't it bad enough? I gotta feel something about where I live and my immediate circle of influence and the people that I know and the people that I care about. And that's bad enough. I'm taking somebody to the hospital that I love, but yet I'm searching out other problems to seek out. People whose life, I just want to point this out, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about the information, because like I say, I'm a part of it. I do it. This is what I do. I'm not saying anything bad about it. What I am saying is this. Okay? If your life's going good, you ain't looking for reasons to feel bad about the world or looking for the world to end and all this. People whose lives are on spot, they ain't trying to drag themselves into somebody else's miseries. It's hard enough to live your life without getting caught up in stuff, but then to actually seek it out, it actually becomes an addiction. Doom scrolling is a fantastic. Whoever coined that term, 2 thumbs up and 5 stars, because that's exactly what it is. And I mean, realistically, what did the first contact, if you were in a relationship with somebody and you didn't have internet, and the first thing that happened in the morning, you came in contact with your partner, they had some awful things to say to you in a really awful point of view, in a nasty tone of voice. That's exactly like what happens when you open up a social media page and see some article that was sent specifically for you to see the minute you open your internet up. So, I mean, the internet's not your friend necessarily. It's more or less a tool. And if it's on 24/7, like I've seen these people, because I was launched out of my norm because I had to evacuate. I had to go live with some people. Okay, and now I live in a certain way. So now I'm thrust out of my normal environment into another person's environment, and now I'm there in observation and trying to be humble in somebody else's house. So I'm just there. I'm not there to influence anything. I'm not there to make a wave. I'm just there. So what I noticed there was they listen to a particular type of rhetoric on a particular type of news channel, and they had it on literally on this TV. They sat around this TV 24 hours a day. Whenever they were up, they would sit in front of this TV that was constantly repeating the same stuff over and over again. Those people were clearly brainwashed. Those people were clearly not in the small percentage of people that are awake on the internet about the truth or whatever it is.
I think, yeah, listening to you there, a lot of that mainstream media, especially before the internet, they were our reality generators.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people's world views were built upon what you were told by the news. And now look at the information that we've got coming our way. And if people did back then, the world view was pretty much constructed by what the talking heads told us, programmed us with. Think of all the information and data that's coming at us now that's building 7 billion different world views. I don't know, maybe that adds to the confusion that's going on right now. I really don't know. Nano, have you got any idea how we get a time machine and we get out of here?
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I would be building it, and I wouldn't even sell it. I would just say free rides, because a lot of people wouldn't believe you. So I'd just say free rides.
Where would you go, Nano? Where would you go? Come on, where would you go if you had the choice?
If I could go any place,
anytime,
in the past or the future.
If you could go anytime.
Anytime. Oh my God. You know what would be very interesting is to visit the Roaring 20s to see if it really was anything like they said it was, even for a week. I would love to go see Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. So go back to the Civil War, before the Civil War. Visit the South before the Civil War to see what that was really like. Yeah. It would be really interesting to go to the Alamo before it happened. Like some of the most historical events, it would be really great not to watch them happen necessarily, but maybe the day before or a couple of days before.
Yeah, I know
what was it really like?
Yeah.
And what was it really like to be in the 1700s? And just maybe every 100 years go back and just spend a week.
That's a good call. That's a good call. I like that. I do like that.
Right?
I would definitely go, I think, to the big one. I would want to see if the whole Jesus crucifixion thing takes place the way we're told.
Yes.
Not that I doubt it. I just want to, I know they say have faith and things, but if you've got a time machine, you might as well go and check, right?
Yeah.
Pyramids. I'd probably go back in 1,000-year increments to see just how old they were. How long do they go back in time?
The dinosaurs. Let's go see visit the dinosaurs for the day.
I've thought about the dinosaurs before. My luck, Nano, I would open the door and the T-Rex would just be going by, Exactly. What else? Oh, damn, I've asked you the question, but yeah. Atlantis. Let's have a see if that actually, if that was a thing or not. Jimmy? What do you think, man? Where would you go, dude?
I'm still back on the concept that you were saying earlier about the time machine. And I thought to myself right now, when you asked now, that question, what blazed into my mind was you just created a time machine idea by, you didn't even have to lift a finger and you built a time machine by telling people to turn it off, man.
What's that?
When you turn this off, do you realize how much time all of a sudden you have that you didn't have before? Right? What if there's a land of lost time? What if we're in the land of lost time right now? This is the time to tie up all of our loose ends.
That would explain a few things, actually, if we're in like a bubble that time was lost.
I know.
2020, the year we figured out we were just in a bubble that got lost,
Well, do you guys subscribe to the theory? Everybody's had a lot of discussions about this, that 2012 didn't really happen the way we thought it did, that they prevented something and now we're looking at a different, you know what I mean? Like how they talk about that supposedly we ended, but then we didn't end or whatever, that that we created some kind of, or they took us out of time and then changed things? Or,
For me, when I've heard that stuff, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, this is just my opinion. My opinion. I think it makes for a great fiction book. But
yeah.
you know, I don't know. Is it you, Jimmy? I'm sure somebody says to me they think they died. No, Jason, my good friend Jason, he always says to me, you know, I think we all finished in 2012. I don't know. Who knows? I think that was the cynical side of me. The cynical side of me says that was a really good way for the 2012 champions to keep talking about 2012. But I don't know. That's a bit cynical of me, James, isn't it? What do you make of that, dude?
No, I wouldn't say it would be cynical at all. And the thing about it is, if we were all collectively dead right now, we didn't know it. It means we all made it to the same place. Don't worry about it.
That's true.
So the idea of the counting of the days and all this noise, I mean, supposedly the date was just like a month ago. And you got all this weird weather going on, and you got all this weird tectonics and volcanics.
If you think about it, Jimmy, right, what you said there, if somebody had taken the events out of this year, right, and taken the events out of 2012 and not put a label on them, right, it just showed you what had happened in 2012 and what happened in this year, right? And they said to you, so Jimmy, looking at these two sets of events, what year do you think was the Mayan calendar end date? You would absolutely go for the 2020 list, wouldn't you? It's had everything, right?
I would, but you know what the big difference between now and 2012 is? In 2012, I was still hypnotized by this information, and I believed that it was going to end. And when I said, when it ends, if it ends and when it ends, I want to be where I want to be when that happens. And I boned out and I moved there. I lifted my whole life up and moved away so that I'd be where I'd want to be if the world ended. And guess what? It didn't end, man.
I'm with you, Jimmy. I was still I was like you. I was all in on it.
This time, dude, when the world's ending right now with everything that's going on, guess what? I didn't move a muscle because I figured out it doesn't matter where you go, man. Wherever you go, there you are. And that's what I realized this time. And that's why, hey, if anything comes down or it comes down, I'm just going to stay right here, man. If I can't make it happen here, then where else can I make it happen?
Very true.
I was going to throw something, a monkey wrench in this too, is you go back to what Philip K. Dick said in his interview, that he helped prevent the man in the castle, right? The reason that he created that story was because he helped prevent it. And going back to the Abraham Hicks thing that I actually heard this morning, and they talked about time and different incarnations. And the comment was made, but you guys don't understand consciousness. And so the Abraham Hicks character is saying, we're helping you in this body focus on this moment in time, but that's not talking about or having you focus on the fact there's different levels of consciousness, and that you could be you as an entity could also have a consciousness that's somewhere else at the exact same time doing something very different, because we're in this body, so we're conscious of being in the body and we're conscious of the things we're doing, but then we don't also know what makes up a soul or how many layers or how many. In other words, what if Philip K. Dick could do both things at the same time, but he changed his timeline, or it was a different reality, but there was two of them, but one met the other and shared the story. Do you see what I mean? Like, or that Philip K. Dick that went in to do Man in the Castle and the one in the human body, they were really the same person, but it was almost like two of them without getting crazy about that. In other words, there was this consciousness powerful enough to be doing the same thing at the exact same time, or doing both of those things at the same time. But this other consciousness could meet him because it wasn't loaded up in a body, whereas the one who wrote the story could hear the story or experience that story from that entity and then write it. Does that make sense?
If this conversation gets any deeper, I want to be the man in the castle. Whoa, man.
There's been a couple of times in my life where I literally thought that was deep. And it made me think of this couple times in my life where I thought I met myself, a different version of myself in a moment. And I remembered that person, in my life a lot of times, kind of like that movie.
What was it, like a doppelganger, or just somebody that same essence as you as opposed to looks?
No, like it was me in a different sense that I didn't look the same, but it was me, in a different sense of myself, kind of like that movie 12 Monkeys, when what's his nuts sees himself as a child. He's a child and he sees himself grown up running by in the future, and had this event happen. Like there, I can tell you specifically, one of the persons was this. I was in jail and I was being moved from one place to another, and I was sitting in this room, and I had cuffs on, chains on my wrists and chains on my feet, and I was in a regular orange jumpsuit. So when you're in an orange jumpsuit, it means you're just a regular prisoner. So while I was sitting in there, they bring this dude in, and he's in red, and so when you're dressed in red, it means you're a murderer or whatever. So they bring this cat in, man, and they set him down next to me, and I'm looking at him, I'm watching this dude, and they hand this dude this little cup with these pills in it. Okay? And they handed it to him, and he had the same wrist chains on it and everything that I had. But this dude had been in wrist chains like that a lot of times, and it was to the point where when they handed that dude the pills and that little thing, he was able to just, with his hand, and bend down and feed himself the pills with his hand. And it was the moment, and I'm telling you this whole part of it because it was the moment when that dude looked up after taking those pills. He looked me right in the eye. And it was in that moment, man, that I realized, I thought that I was looking at a version of myself, man. Because at the time, I was a drug addict, at a certain point in my life. I wasn't addicted then. I had just gotten clean and sober when I was in jail before that. So I wasn't addicted to drugs anymore. But there was that moment, and it was an intense moment, to realize that, that maybe I came in contact with myself and a different version of myself.
Do you think your higher self did that? Your guides, one of your guides manifested you in there as a message to you, like a reflection? Or there was this, like, I don't know, that's amazing.
It was, it was a powerful moment in my life, irrespective of what was happening, because I ended up in that situation where I was incarcerated, but I had gotten clean and sober before that. So I had just gotten really spiritual and really honest, and I was working my stuff.
Sounds like that was something showing you better stay on track, or this is you, dude. This is you. Now we're going to come back on the other side. We'll hold this kind of train of thought. Nano, I hope I'm not totally eating up into your day here. If I am,
no, this has been fun.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
I'm
cool
good.
then. That's cool. I'm happy. I'm not going to argue with you in case we lose you. So we'll be back after the break for the final hour. We've been talking about almost doppelgangers there. Let's get into a bit of doppelganger, a bit of woo after the break. Who knows where we'll go? It's a kind of we're just going to go with the flow today. We don't need technology like the Neuralink to produce a brilliant Freaky Friday. So stay tuned. None of us know what comes next. There we go. Yeah, I've got a good friend, Nancy. I always say to you, I always say to Nancy, the two of yous are, in many ways, for me, scarily similar. And when you were talking there about the Philip K. Dick and everything else, I had a horrible sense of deja vu. Not horrible because it was a bad moment. Horrible because I'd had near enough a very similar / the same conversation with Nancy the last time I spoke to her. And halfway through, I had to say, whoa, this is deep. You're blowing my mind here. This is way deep. When you were talking there about Philip K. Dick, that's the first thing that came into my mind. I'm like, whoa, hang on, slow down. This is getting real deep. I need to follow this here. But I'm smiling because that's the synchronicity, because I tell you, it's weird, Jimmy. It's really weird. It was like listening to a similar level of like really deep info and getting the same download twice. That's a bit weird. A bit woo, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, this period of time that we've been going through, this last, say 60 days or so, there's some powerful linings.
Yes.
I can't tell.
Is there?
There's a square going on right now.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you do a show or bring it up at a topic conversation, open up the phones and talk about deja vus, I'll bet you're going to find out a lot of people are having serious deja vus right now. I've been having them too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been having it's been this weird quality to even.
Gonna grab a quick coffee. 2 seconds.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I think this is again, and maybe this is what I was trying to say, Jimmy, when we were talking about this earlier. There is something about this last 5 months that there's so many things happening on so many levels. Astrologically, it's extremely powerful, and we're not done. The rest of the year.
Can you talk about the lineups? Because I know there's some squaring of Mars or something going on.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let me go grab a coffee too. Let me go. Just give me a second, because otherwise I won't be able to do it.
Right. No, go grab a coffee.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Grab a coffee. I've really enjoyed reading all of the comments tonight too. It's so good to see you guys, Polynation and Onslow and BW and Adam and Don Hart. Good to see you guys. This has been a fun show. I don't usually come for this show, but it's really been fun to be here tonight, especially starting out with our buddies at Neuralink, Mr. Musketeer, as I like to call him, Luna. It's cool. Good to see you guys. I hope you're all doing well out there tonight. Yeah, Jules, it's been fun. Hey, Greg, I've enjoyed your comments tonight, too. Thank you. Oh, I love you guys, too. I love you, Polynation. You guys are awesome. You guys are so sweet to me. Thank you so much for all your kind remarks. I really, really like it. Oh, I love your energy, too. Thank you. Luna, Onslow, thank you. The Rotman won. Awesome. Good day. And you know how much I love Australia too. I mean, if I could go someplace to go be right now, it would be Australia.
Gonna bring it back on. Here we go. Oh.
Sidereal Australia. Love you back.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Yes, indeed. My bad. We were late coming back from break there. I had to nip to the toilet, but I'm back now. I've got coffee, toilet done. Hour to go. I've got Nano. I know I share far too much information, Nano, don't I? But I've got Nanogirl here. I've got Jimmy here. And before we go anywhere, on behalf of definitely me and the audience as well, I can definitely speak for the audience this once, because if it wasn't for Nano and Jimmy, you'd be listening to a rebroadcast right now. Scotty has his migraine, and when he told me that today, my initial thought was, well, you know what? Take a night off. But I'm sitting there and it just didn't feel right. I seen Jimmy's wee light on. And I thought, and I hate asking anyone to like spend 3 hours of their day, you know, just maybe a couple hours before the show. Do you want to come and hang out with me? But I'm glad I did, and I can't thank both of you enough, because Nano, she reminded me about Elon Musk coming on. And then she says, you know, we could break it down. I thought, oh, this is even better. So, Nano, Jimmy, without you guys today, there would be no Freaky Friday. So I can tell you there's at least a good couple of thousand people in the world right now absolutely stoked that I got a hold of you two. So thank you very, very much, okay?
Oh no, this was great. I actually put makeup on today. Usually if you're home, you don't, like, okay. And right before I contacted you, I thought, okay, something's happened.
See, it must have been me thinking, am I going to do it? Am I not? You've been picking up on it.
No, this has been great. And this is the first time in a long time I've come on your show and I don't have 1,000 slides.
And are you enjoying it though? Are you enjoying it? This nice little kind of.
It's been great. I would call this show unscripted. This is really nice.
Yeah,
yep. I like it.
We roll.
You guys are great to talk to, but we did have some good cannon fodder in the front of the show.
We did.
So we have to thank Mr. Musketeer for that. But no, you guys, this has been a really great conversation, and I don't get to have enough conversations about stuff like this right now. We're still very much captured into our apartments. So
let me ask you though, now that you've mentioned that, California, people out there listening right now would probably rightly not listen to me again for a while if I didn't ask two people right in amongst what's going on in California with the fires, how they're both doing. Jimmy, start with you, because I mean you're just back in your location, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So last week there's a fire coming through, massive. And we could talk about this too, because the weather that participated in starting the fires that we had, the lightning storms are super intense, and we don't have lightning here in Northern California very often. So that caused a fire. It burned down over 400 telephone poles. All those lines, all those poles have to be reinstalled. All those lines are being pulled in by PG&E crews. So they had a Boulder Creek, which was there was a big basin park, which is the oldest state park facility in the state of California. Some of the property there on that park hadn't seen a human footprint in over 100 years. The cabins and whatnot that were built there to be the state park, the main place where you go to learn about the redwoods and everything, that's gone. The town of Bonnie Doon, which is sort of a outskirts of Santa Cruz on the mountains, near the coast, really sweet area, beautiful mountain schools up there, teaching kids the right way, all burned down. They had to stop that fire. That fire was coming over the mountain, and so they evacuated everybody. And so our area got evacuated. And so our last Friday, I sent my family away, and I stayed behind during the evacuation. And I was planning on staying here. You know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, I realized, Nano, that after not even 12 hours, people were up in Felton looting. They busted 4 people in this area called Fall Creek, which is like it's just like there's like 5 houses there. You know what I mean? People are stealing stuff. So all of a sudden I realized, man, hey, the first day I went out, everything was normal. I got on my Segway, I went down to the gas station, came back, went to the store, came back. I figured, I'll just go to the store later, buy some stuff or whatever. Then it got serious. Everything closed without notice. Everything was closed. And they said, if you were out and about, you're a looter because you shouldn't be there. Right. So I stayed for 3 days. The first couple of days I was still watching, I was on my roof with binoculars watching. I was more concerned about embers floating down and starting another fire than I was about that fire getting here.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I stayed, and then I just got to a certain point where I was just like, man, I got to go get some stuff for myself. I didn't buy what I needed. So I went out, and once I went out, I couldn't come back. So I knew that I couldn't come back when I left. So I put everything that I needed in the car, and when I was leaving, so I got my parakeets in the car and a giant cage, and I dismantled the cage, took it off its legs, got it in there, got all my guitars in, my dog, and got everything that I needed. And in that moment, I want to bring this to your listeners' attention and stuff, just because I learned something in this moment, and I looked around and I was like, man, all that other stuff that I have in my house, all those different, items, as whatever they are, whatever you stuff that you accumulate. Yeah, you accumulate the stuff, man. It's like an albatross around your neck, man. It's like everything I really needed was actually in that car. So it really made me take a look at my life in a certain sense, because I'm realizing that even though I've simplified over this period of time, and then I'm going to do some more simplifying, I think. But the bottom line is what I learned, and I want to share it with the listeners, is if you sit around and you hear about this information a lot, you hear a lot of viewpoints, a lot of people putting forward stuff and this and that, what they think, how it's going to be, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me just tell you, here's what happens. When the positions, when they establish positions with people in authority, and they set up cones, and they set up command centers, and there's literally craft services up here. The same people who cater to the movies are catering what's going on up here. When they set all that stuff up, if you think you're going to be going out there all bold, trying to be somebody resisting whatever is good is going on, I got news for you, man. It ain't going to happen. And then when you're out of your house, here's the thing. You're out of your house. Now you can't come back until they say it's okay. Guess what they were telling me the day I left, Nano?
What?
It was going to be 2 weeks or a month before I could come back.
Wow.
I know.
So you were out for 4 days?
Yeah, by the time I got out, I stayed out for like 4 days. And the firefighters did a really great job here.
Yeah.
The water supply in Felton was destroyed by by the fire heating up the pipes, putting chemicals. They lost 4.7 million gallons of water.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, and what's funny is Felton, this company tried to come in and take over the water in Felton, but Felton voted no, and they kept the water private. And it's interesting that the private water system got damaged. I wonder if they'll have to sell back now to the corporate water demons. I don't know. And then you think about up here, if you're a fan of the cannabis, man, this is where they originated the cannabis that everybody smokes. You know what I mean?
Even more than Reading?
Yeah, more than Reading, more than up there, because here, for example, a friend of mine who's in his 40s, his mother was arrested for growing cannabis. He's a second generation cannabis grower. His mother spent most of her life in prison because of it.
Oh my gosh.
It was so illegal that she spent most of her life in prison. But they bought 60 acres up in Boulder Creek back in the 70s. And so my buddy had a grow operation up there. This same person I'm telling you about. So I haven't heard from them. That all those mom and pop grow operations here in Boulder Creek, that's where all the weeds getting grown up here. All the retail, stuff that you see in the stores, a lot of that's being grown here. Well, those mom and pops are burned out now. So now it's a perfect opportunity for the corporate invasion of the cannabis industry, because they're standing by, ready to roll. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so how is it where you are? We've had Jimmy, he had to get out, Nano. Where are you in relation to where Jimmy is?
So what made this really surreal is that I live right by the ocean. Literally, I can walk to the ocean in 10 minutes, okay? So I had a fire to the east of me, a fire to the south of me, and a fire to the north of me, which was Jimmy's fire, right? And while all this stuff's going on with you, Jimmy, and all the stuff that's going on up there, there was a radio station that was broadcasting live, keeping us abreast of everything that was going on. You guys that had to, you had to leave and what was happening and what was burning down and that kind of stuff. And the last time I went on Kev's show, I think it was on Kev's show. I think I said, it's like, I wondered, actually think I wrote to you, Kev, I said, I wondered when it would be our turn, right? Because we've had these fires going on. This is our 4th year, I believe. Sonoma, the grapes, Napa, up where my sister lives, up in Redding and all that whole area. They've been burning and burning for years, right? So every year, and if you overlay that map, right, Agenda 21, they're just, kind of working down California, kind of cleaning all the houses out. And so to me, when we had that lightning fire, I thought, oh, here we go. It's here. It's here now. Salinas, which is to the east of me, which is the river fire, we have a lot of produce there. And so that was really worrisome because the people that work in our fields are still out there and the air quality was so bad. To the south of me is Carmel. And then to the south of that is Big Sur. Big Sur's had fires too. And they've been trying not to let the big redwoods burn. And we have redwoods that are, hundreds of years old. And they're trying really hard to save those. So that's a good thing about redwoods is they don't burn that easy either. They're like the eucalyptus, or the cannabis grows, stuff burns like so.
There was nefarious activity down there on one of those fires that you're talking about too,
yes,
right?
They started it. They actually caught the guy that started the one in Big Sur. So while going through this the last couple of weeks, we have the COVID, the lockdown, and then we've got the fires, and you're just in the middle of this whole thing, and you just think, I never asked the universe, could there be one more thing? I've learned a long time ago, you never say that.
No.
I never say that.
It can't get no worse either. Never say it can't get no worse.
So when Bill made the prayers, when he did the prayer on Sunday, and it was like it stopped, and I was thinking, maybe all of us just said enough. Okay, enough. Maybe we caught our second breath and said no more. Because some of the people that I'm working with on my volunteer stuff, Kev, they had to leave their houses. So this affected people I knew, like Jimmy, and then people that I'm actually volunteering with, they had to leave their homes. And this was in the Carmel Valley. And it had the river fire come any further, I think a lot more people would have had to evacuate too.
You should explain to people the Carmel Valley is a really special place. It's where Nano lives is one of the most beautiful places in the face of the earth. I mean,
it is.
People move to Carmel. Carmel has got, if you're rich, if you are an elitist, you got a house in Carmel. And, there's also up there Tassajara, which is that really beautiful Buddhist retreat, hot springs. And then you have Big Sur, like you're talking about. And up there they have the Esalen Institute, which a lot of people are familiar with in the sense that
and all those famous golf courses, right? Spyglass and all that. And our buddy Clint Eastwood lives here, and he used to be the mayor of Carmel.
I remember when he was the mayor of somewhere. I didn't realize it's where you are.
Yes, yeah, I keep expecting to run into him, Jimmy. But I mean, that's another thing. Well, hey, your area is gosh darn beautiful too. Santa Cruz here. Oh, and I'm going to throw this last thing in here about the Santa Cruz thing. Here's what was shocking about the fire, Jimmy. And I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I thought it was interesting in a really sort of creepy, dark way that there would be a fire anywhere near Santa Cruz, because Santa Cruz is one of the centers of Agenda 21. Now, it didn't burn Santa Cruz, and it didn't burn the college. I don't know if you noticed that the fire didn't touch it. They had to evacuate, but it didn't touch it.
No,
But this is a
they
huge
spent-
center for this Agenda 21, blossoming, growing, incubating.
It is. It is. And that's the thing is that, Agenda 21 or the ideas behind it, it's been politicized because there's nothing wrong with having good ideas about ways we could be good stewards or wherever we are.
Right.
But like you were saying, your area though is a really, Big Sur is a very influential, and so is the Monterey Defense Language Institute.
You've got the Naval Academy here.
That's right. It's Spook Haven down there where you are. So seriously, it is.
Little mini DARPA.
That old Monterey, boy, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of secrets going on down there in Monterey, and especially on that old property over there, the old Fort Ord, the closed Fort Ord.
A place to keep an eye on as well is that UC Berkeley. That is a place to watch. Everyone talks about Harvard,
Stanford
Yale,
University.
and
Oh my God. Stanford University is the heart of.
But when it comes to the tech and things, I think more people usually go for MIT. But during my time, luckily, when I was working with Anthony, I got my eyes open to the one they don't really tell you much about, UC Berkeley, even though they were the first place to have a synchrotron. And I tell you, really, really, when you look at like science, it's been right at the heart of some of the biggest things coming out. And it makes me wonder, because you hear little about Berkeley, and that puts my spidey senses on full alert right away, So I'm learning now that you really are in the heart of, like Jimmy said, Spookville, by the sounds of it.
What's interesting, too, is Epic Journeyman and myself have done a bunch of work on Stanford Research Institute. And the Corbett report actually picked up on some of the work that him and I had done, because we started pointing out how a lot of these people that were in the PhD program over at Stanford dropped out and started these big giant companies that everybody's aware of now. And that didn't just happen by accident, you know what I mean? So it's an interesting place, the Stanford Research Institute, and it is exactly correlated to where you live with the Defense Language School and Big Sur and Esalen Institute, because Esalen was where they did a lot of early work on the psychology of human beings, and it's where the original EST came from, which was a self-betterment program that eventually turned into Landmark Communications. Right. But they learned and studied aversion therapy up at Esalen, which is one of the things. And I swear, if you go look right now, you can go look up Esalen, ESLON, and in Monterey or Big Sur. You can go look it up, and there's world leaders that go there for symposiums still. Now it's now it's more like a self-help retreaty place.
Yeah.
But originally it was like hardcore scientists from Stanford Research Institute were all up in there developing the very psychology that's being used against us today on a whole different level. The level that we're being exposed to the psychology that's available, that the active measures being taken against the American people via electronic measures, those same psychological techniques that were perfected up at Esalen and Stanford Research Institute are the very mechanisms that are being used at this very moment to make us all Pavlov's dogs, salivating every time we put on the feed bag on our news feed over on Facebook or whatever. So, you're in the very heart of where it all came from.
Well, we are, because you are in the very heart of Agenda 21, right there, right? I mean, you're right there. You drive down the hill, and there you are, bada bing, bada boom. And on the other side is Los Gatos and Silicon Valley. So, and then north is San Francisco, where all the incubator startup companies are now. I mean, literally wherever we turn, if you're in this valley, You know, this huge San Francisco to south to Santa Barbara, and even San Diego is really an interesting epicenter for a lot of technology.
This Bay Area, this here is responsible for a lot of what we see as our world.
Yeah,
responsible for social engineering. I mean, the music that came out of here, the principles of the hippie movement, the whole
computer,
and all the computer and all the tech companies now are based back from the hippie movement back in the day. So a lot of those original dudes that were inventing the personal computers were guys sitting around with beards, you know, with hippie mentalities, you know what I mean? And eventually they, I can't think of the name of the magazine that used to be there. Do you remember the name of that magazine? There used to be a magazine specifically about tech out of the Bay Area, and then eventually it became.
There was a bunch of them. There was PC World. There was a lot of them, and I can't remember. I used to read a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the one that eventually became. Yeah, this became the Burning Man. I mean, this was the magazine and the writers.
Was it Infotech
this
or
is
something?
Specifically about tech. I can't believe I can't remember. It is so big. It's so huge. If I could say it, you'd go, "Oh man," you know.
Was it one that was really huge like that?
Yeah, it was huge.
There was a lot of them, and I used to do research. That was one of the jobs I had, was doing research and kind of summarizing all the information that was going on in the valley every month. So I read so many of them.
That must have been eye-opening.
It was great. I loved it. It was one of my favorite jobs. And then I used to try to make it funny, and then they told me to knock it off. So I had to make it
there's
serious.
Always somebody that spoils the fun. What's that all about?
Can you imagine me trying to be serious, Kev? It was a waste of time. And I had people reading my update because it was funny. Right? It was like, because I put all the tech stuff in there, but I made it funny and sarcastic.
Not happy. I think we need to start a petition. We'll get an online petition going to get Nano her favourite job back. I still wish you got the job at D-Wave. I really wish you had. We'd have had Eric on the show by now.
We would have.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, actually, that worked out that I probably didn't. I was thinking about that recently. That was probably better. I didn't. I would have really had to.
Well, the audience probably don't know that you've been to D-Wave for an interview, so I'll name you again, Nano. That was one of our synchronicities, right? You know, a bit of a weird one. You know,
yes.
Out of all the job interviews and all the places in all the world, you end up in D-Wave, and it was round about the same time when I got Geordie, right?
It was. It absolutely was, and it was a fluke because I just happened to see this one ad fly by when I was looking for work, and I thought, no.
And that
so I threw my resume out
close.
there.
So that close. It'll happen. I'm telling you.
And
but
then
folks,
9 interviews. 9 in
a
day.
How many you went through?
Yes. I was so brain dead by the talk about brains. I was brain dead. The HR person came in and interviewed me.
I mean, is that typical for?
No, it's not typical for startups. Yes, it's typical for you to have to interview a lot of people for startups, but not 9. That was a record even for me.
Wow.
It was. I mean, I got there at 8:00 in the morning, and I didn't leave until 3 or 4, because it was just hour after hour. I had lunch with the boss, and it just went on. And I had to write all those thank you emails. I had to remember who said what. It was hilarious. But anyway.
I tell you, the world is a strange
I was
place.
number 2.
You think about it, the world is a strange place. I mean, I get it. Nano's there, she's worked in tech, and some people will say, well, it's not a stretch that she ended up at D-Wave in some capacity. But I don't know. The way my mind works, you know, and we talked about that thing so often, so much, that you ended up attracting an interview at the place, and I ended up attracting the man himself.
I know.
Careful what you wish for. Even when you don't know you're wishing for it, if you put enough attention into it, you might just make things happen. And we're going to make the magic happen after the break. I don't know what we're going to get into, but it'll be good. Join us on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
This has been fantasticals.
This
Yes.
has been very fantastical. I was going to say one thing about thinking about
magazine. I can't believe I can't remember it. This guy is so influential, one of the most influential futurists of all time.
Did you remember it?
No.
Dementia, Jimmy.
Wait, okay, wait. So wait, is it the name of the person who wrote it?
No.
Oh.
It's a name like
Wired.
it was almost like Wired, but not Wired. It's a magazine that's not there anymore, and it's like Wired.
Okay, but
when-
it was and one person was responsible for doing a lot of the writing.
Man, I almost want to say Ray Kurzweil had something to do with it, but I'm not 100%
okay.
on it. I'm not 100% on it, but man, I can't believe it. Anyways, I must have smoked too much. I must have breathed in. I must have breathed in.
It must be the fire fumes that still are there.
Exactly.
Fire
Toffler? Somebody says Toffler.
Toppler.
No. And then
What was the year? Can you tell me, like 1990s?
I want to say it was in the 70s.
Okay.
And then, but they were all out of a philosophy of this other book, which was the Mother Jones catalog or something like that. It was some other thing that there was a book that was out. It was like a hippie book that all these techs loved. And I want to say it was the Mother Jones something. It had to do with this. No, it was the Whole Earth catalog. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I got to backfeed it from the Whole Earth catalog because I can't believe I can't remember this. It's the most. I mean, when this dude speaks, everyone listens. As far as text concerns,
Is that still true? Is he still
Where
around?
do we want to go after the break, apart from your magazine?
Hey,
Because the magazine's good, but I think 27 minutes of us trying to remember your magazine might just get a bit wrong.
No, I was
maybe.
hoping I would jog Nano's memory because I know
You
the
know what
minute I
happened? We're going to change subject, and there's going to be one word that comes along. One word's going to come along towards the end of this next segment, Jimmy, and you're going to go, there it is! You're going to remember
right.
it. Yep.
You are right. You are right.
Don't you worry about it, dude. I've got it cooking in the future. Don't you worry. I'll get it. I'll get that word for you.
You are the quantum materializer, though.
Oh, I'll tell you what, dude. Epic re-energized my quantumness the other day, I must admit.
I know. Well, hey, I'm going to be with him later on tonight, so I'll tell him you said hi. He's still stoked from being on with you, man.
I hope I've done a good job to help him get the info out, because his info is really good.
Well, the thing is, dude, is, I got to see him in a different light because I'm on with him all the time. And I take for granted how smart he is, But when he was on your show, I was listening to it, I was going, damn.
There's anyone who wants that, it's I've put it in an article. The reason I've put it in an article is because when you scroll down here, it's a big long one. A lot of it's Epic's own work. But I've put it the way Epic showed it to me. And I've got the links here in order down at the bottom here. And when I went through the links in order the way Epic had given it to me, I must admit, it's quite profound. Doesn't mean you have to agree with any of it, folks. I'm not telling you this is what the Mandela effect is, and I don't think Epic's telling you that either. Because I don't think either of us have got that kind of egotistic side or narcissistic side to claim that we know what's going on.
Well, him and I have done some shows. We've never done a Mandela show on Into the Microcosm, but we've done a bunch of shows on little pieces of this. One of them is mimetic warfare.
Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment, can you believe it, of today's Freaky Friday show. This Freaky Friday show came together at the last moment. I'd forgotten all about my hero, the Musketeer. I must be in a different timeline if I forgot about Musk, right? But it's okay, because Nano, she knew I was going to forget. She messaged me, said, "You looking forward to Musk?" And I pretended, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, you did a good job of pretending. Oh, yeah. I'm all geared up for it. Yeah, me too.
Nano, I was in the middle of putting together stuff for Freaky Friday. I'm thinking, oh no, I forgot about it. So we're here. Neuralink thing, folks. I don't really know if we learned much new today. Yeah, we've seen a pig with one in, we've seen a pig with two in, we've seen a pig that had one taken out, we've seen a pig that didn't want to play with anyone. We've seen like a really weird watch battery from the 80s that you're going to put in your head and your skull. But aside from that, it wasn't all that I thought it would be. So, to make...
Well, we did learn one big thing today. It's reversible.
Yes, good point.
That was my huge concern. Been asking that for years. Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. You are right there.
The thing about the reversibility was we saw it was installed in a pig and then it was taken out of a pig. But if you look at a pig, how would you know if there's anything wrong with that pig? You know, it looks like a pig. It's moving around like a pig. It eats.
Jimmy,
I mean, how do you know nothing happened to it?
Don't let things like that get in the way of it. The fact the pig barks now is nothing to do with it. Don't worry about that. That barking will subside.
I want to see.
This was just an ad for you to come on by and put in for a job. Jimmy, no worries. It was just a recruiting thing.
We're going to get Nano a job there. We're going to get Nano in the door. She's going to be our...
I'm going to look for a project program management job, and
she'll be our eyes. She'll be our eyes on the link.
I need monkeys on cell phones, man. I've already seen monkeys.
You're so hard to please.
I know.
Monkeys move.
I'm gonna get Musk and I'm gonna say to him, look, Elon, I've spoke to some of your biggest critics and they're not gonna be happy until you roll out Bubbles the monkey. Would that if we get a monkey that can sing and dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just talk.
He's gonna have to impress me because listen, I've seen monkeys doing stuff without the Neuralink already. That is mind blowing.
That's very true. Very, very true. Now listen, we've got one segment to go, so let's try and, if we can, try and segue in some woo. That fits with what we were talking about. Yeah, deja vu. That's exactly where I was going, Jimmy, because that kind of fits with the time woo that we were talking about. And it'll probably spawn off other topics that we can talk about. So deja vu, where'd you come in on that one, Nano? I'll come to you first then. What do you think that's all about? Is that evidence that we've done this before on our timeline? Is it evidence that all of it's been transmitted and we pick it up just beforehand? What do you think?
Well, I think we all are capable of all the magical things we see people do with higher consciousness, like oh God, it went right out of my head.
Telepathy?
No, when you read the future. Those guys go and they do...
remote viewing.
Yes, remote viewing. Okay, so
we all got a mental block there.
I know. I think we can all do remote viewing, and I think that we don't... I think what happens is people get all screwed up and saying, I can't do this, or this is weird, or, whatever. And really all it is harnessing that frequency to connect to the future. And I think the deja vu stuff, I've had a number of them, and I watch things. I just did it, or I know it's going to happen. And then I watch it happen just exactly. I know how it's going to happen. That's happened many, many times. But as a project manager, what I have found really fascinating is I got to a point where I got so good at reading people and putting teams together that I could tell you psychologically how my team was going to act based on the players and based on the events. I could predict it every single time. And the other reason that I got into this future technology is I see future. I see it all the time, and I forget that other people aren't there. Like, I know things that are coming. Like, if you give me a building block of A, B, and C, I can predict D, E, and F. And I'm usually pretty accurate about it. And so I have this gift of whatever that is, of sight or future viewing or remote viewing or whatever it is, and I do it all the time. We all come with gifts. That's mine. So what is that? How do we know? And I'm usually pretty accurate, by the way.
No.
So, and is it gut feeling, just putting the pieces together? And to me, it's not hard. And I think a lot of people that are into the future technology or are futurists also have that gift. And I think we could say Mr. Musketeer has it. Mr. Musketeer knows if he puts A, B, and C together and you align it and put enough money on it and some characters in it, you're going to get what you're going to get. So
I like that.
am
Your superpower. Let's call it that almost, because I think we've all got a superpower.
Yeah.
Mine, it's only really developed the last couple of years, but I definitely think the gut feeling, the spidey senses, as I call it, that has protected this show and these people out there in chat land and anyone listening. You don't know how many times my gut has saved us from going down a false rabbit hole. And it's only with hindsight I'm able to look back and say, lucky we missed that one. Because right now, I mean, I don't know whether it's because maybe it's just experience doing this long enough. I don't know. I can pretty much instantly get a feeling for whether something's got something to it. Or 9 times out of 10 nowadays, whether it's absolute gumph and somebody's trying to blow smoke up your tuchus,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I can only take score of myself, and Jimmy, I know it's pretty accurate. The times I've seen a headline or somebody's come to me with a new story, a new big thing, and it's almost instant. And that doesn't mean that I then don't go on to check it out or whatever, but it's certainly, I don't know, dude. I think we do all come with these little things. Nano's got her thing. She sees the future. Me, I may be able to tell, get a feeling on kind of the veracity of something. What would be your little superpower that you think you've got, dude?
Well, before I get into that, I just want to say that, I worked with you for a long time on your show and doing Freaky Fridays and stuff. And this is when it was your intense period. And ladies and gentlemen, when Kev says he has a sixth sense, man, he's not kidding. Because I can personally attest to it. Not only that, man, and Kev, if you would even send Kev a picture back in the day, man, he would know when the picture was even taken. He's
That's true.
No, dude, sorry, blah, no. But as far as superpowers go, I don't know, man. I'm stuck on the deja vu thing.
What do you think it is then, Jim? What do you think's going on there, dude?
Well, I'm not sure what's going on there. What I do know, and I want to put it out there to the audience, man, because I'll tell you what, a lot of people that I know from abstract places all report the same types of things in the world. It used to be that you would just think you're all by yourself, but now, because of the way communications are, we can talk to people all over the place. Like, for example, some people were having lung issues a bunch of years ago. We started talking about it. We found out a bunch of people had it. It wasn't just, same thing with some of these deja vus right now. A lot of people across the world are reporting that they're having some sort of deja vu experiences on a daily basis.
Really? Is this it's picking up?
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Yeah, it seems like during this period of time that we've been going through, let's just call it solitary confinement. But in the course of that, a lot of people have been reporting deja vus, and it's interesting to me because this has always been an interesting subject. Because I've had them all my life. I have a certain aspect to myself that's, a certain aspect to myself that has abilities. So anyways, I've noticed these deja vus, and I've noticed that, like, when I notice I'm having one, the minute I notice it, it disappears. So I realized that a long time ago. So I started to try to develop a technique that I could use to try to make it last longer, because I had this internal feeling that for some reason, whatever this deja vu is, if it would only just play out just a little bit longer, maybe it would, give me this.
Yeah, it seems to, the minute you recognize you're in a deja vu, it closes the curtain. Yep.
So what you got to do, man, is you got to have a 2-eyeball principle. You see the deja vu with one eyeball, but you don't recognize it. You got to see it, but keep one eye away from it. It's like you have to focus, you have to split your mind.
See, I would struggle, dude, because the minute that feeling, there's something, that's creepy feeling, man. Oh,
I know. You get a weird feeling in your solar plexus right there when you try it. And it's because it's hard to split. I mean, that's what it's like. If you think about that, that's what it's like when, for example, in trauma-based mind control, when they create an alter in a person, they're able to actually split that person in two, just like that, where you'd be able to, you have a brain, one brain with, focus coming from two places.
but for those of us who haven't been through that, then this technique that you're describing is probably pretty crap, right?
Well, no, it's hard to do, man. I can't. If I could have done it, man, I would have picked the winner of the Kentucky Derby. I would have got the lottery numbers. I would have, I mean, that's what isn't that what everybody's really searching for? Isn't everybody just...
No, you see, I've come to learn that for every action, there's an opposite and equal kick in the stones waiting. So if you try and, maneuver the fabric of the universe to, be advantageous to you, you get a bit greedy, you want for you, it doesn't tend to work. And in fact, it comes to, like I say, it comes back and it'll kick you somewhere it hurts. But if you try and, you see, it's got to be almost natural. This forcing, try it. It doesn't work like that. It's almost got to be an off the cuff kind of thought that you don't even put too much weight or attention into, and it flies out there into the universe and something happens to it and it manifests. But if you sit there and think, lottery numbers, money, there's a good chance that something's going to happen with money, but it's not going to be the way you intended it. And then there's that weirdness. I don't know, dude. And then how does deja vu tie in with all of that? I have no idea.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Deja vu. The reason people are so interested in deja vu is because they've been there before and they think there's some glimpse into the future or some glimpse into some decision you make. Man, life is as simple as if you turned left instead of right, you would have never gotten that car accident. You would have never lost your leg. You would have never ended up in that wheelchair. You'd never ended up...
Part of me thinks that there's a although we've got free will, I still think there's things that are waiting for us out there in the time stream that, even like you said there, the guy that maybe would have crossed the road and got run over, he for some reason dropped his phone and that car missed him. But it's almost like Final Destination, because I would think at some point, if that was, this sounds weird, but if that was predestined, if for whatever reason that was in his book of life, it was just what is. You might avoid it, but you see how it could maybe come back. That's how I think. And again, nobody's right or wrong here because none of us really know,
No, but I remember when I specifically come to this realization about this was I used to, I'd be driving around, going here and going there. Somebody be getting in my way or something would happen or my friend would be late or all this. And these were things that used to really irritate me. I used to get pissed. And then one day I was going somewhere and the lights were all really long. We were trying to get on the freeway. We're going somewhere. We're trying to get there. It was taking a super long time. And when we finally got on the freeway, just right before we got there, there was an accident and it was a super bad one. And I realized in that moment that had I not been delayed at that light, if I hadn't been where I was for as long as I was, for those 3 minutes, I would have been 3 minutes further down the road and I would have been right in the path of what happened. And so the thing about it is that's what being conscious is, man.
I'll tell you that it's weird, right? And my mum, she's probably listening right now. In fact, I know she is. But when I grew up, I was obviously up the Highlands, Fort Augustus, it's like the middle of nowhere. You've got Inverness, 33 miles drive down the loch one way, in Fort William, it's crap hole, but it's 30 miles the other way. And every time we would go to Inverness or come back, and it was more so when I was young, into my teenage years, there's a segment of road where there's a bridge. And I remember when I was young, I used to kind of just get a feeling going over it, you know, really not nice, not a good feeling. No reason for it. Out of a 33-mile stretch of road, this was nothing special, you know. Little bridge, no big corner, nothing bad, Jimmy. And as time went on and I got older and older, I remember I would say to my mum and my stepdad, I said, I've got a really bad feeling about me and this segment of road, this bridge. And I had the number 24 in my head at the time. And I went all morbid. And I used to say, that I'll tell you, this is the place I'm going to meet something. Now, I can happily tell everyone, I've never even had a crash in that location, right? But the minute I got past 24, and I'd be driving, or anyone would be driving on that road, that feeling never ever came again. What the heck is that all about? Because that was all that, like a real, like a proper positive, palpable, like, you know when you're driving in a car and you like, you know what I'm saying? It was like that.
Yeah.
I've got goosebumps even thinking about it.
So was the message,
I don't
if
know
you
if
can
the-
get past 24
I don't know
and
what the
stay
whole
out of
24
here?
thing was, right? But I think, because there has been crashes on that part of road before. I mean, there has
Right.
been crashes there. And looking
Yeah.
back with hindsight now, the only thing I can think that makes any logic is that I must have been picking up on something that's happened there at some point. For whatever reason. Because there was no logical reason for anyone to be scared of a bit of road where you've never had any accident, you've never done anything. It was weird. But then, almost like a light, gone. Was
But
that
that-
something
you know,
that was
that
waiting
kinda-
on a timeline? Was that something that somebody else? Weird.
Or was it again, you know, it's like when I went to Germany, that was the weirdest. I've been in many countries, and I went to northern Germany, and I felt like the negative energy there from the war and all the stuff that was going on, that had gone on, was palpable. And I have the ability to talk to dead people, which I try to avoid, by the way. And there was a mom and her son in the back. I was staying at this hotel, and there was a mom and the son in the back.
9 minutes to go on a Freaky Friday, and she drops in, I speak to
I know.
dead people.
I know. And anyway, long story short, I was so grateful to get the heck out of there. We were there for the business trip, and we were there for 3 days, and then I took the train to Switzerland. So my point is, we can pick up on stuff, and you're very intuitive, Kev, and you could have just been picking up on something so powerful. You picked up on it. It was in your frequency.
Yeah.
It was the same for me talking about like I talked to the woman for the 3 days with her kid, and I just prayed for her. That's all I could do. It was very sad. And I like I said, I couldn't wait to get out of there. So that's what I meant by it could have been. And the other day, I have to share this really quick. And Jimmy, this was like, I was driving up 68 to go to Pacific Grove, and a deer ran in front of me, and I was doing 40, and I slowed down, but I should have hit the deer, and I missed it. But I should not have missed it. And I'm like driving the car, and I go, how did you miss that deer? That deer was right in front of your car.
What a
Can
mess.
people explain that?
What a
That happens
mess.
a lot to people.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're meant to hit the poor deer, and then no, you're not hitting the deer today. Deer gone. And I should have hit the deer. It was right in front of me. Certainly
Not in your book. It wasn't on your list of things to be done.
So when you talked earlier, just a couple minutes ago, can we get one of my favorite things about time and time movies is, can you go back and change something? Can you stop Kennedy from being killed? No, not if he was meant to get killed.
Yep.
Right? Not if that timeline is teaching, you know, whatever that is. I strongly believe when people die or have events happen to them, it is certainly not up to us to change those things. That has been directed by their higher self. We all have lessons we have to learn. And even if you two knew something about me, would that be fair for you to change it? You're not God, right? That's not, you don't have to worry about that. Those are
Yeah.
my lessons.
And I think the final destination rule definitely steps in when you try and alter stuff like that. Like you say, if for argument's sake I knew somebody was about to cross the road, it wouldn't be the last time they crossed the road, but if I was to step in there, that could be bad juju, right enough. I see what you're saying, Nano. I see what you're saying. Does that mean everything's predetermined then?
Yeah, we'd be tempted to do it if it was someone we knew and loved. We'd be tempted. We probably would say something.
There's a few I'd probably check my watch, check my phone. Oh dear, I forgot to tell you not to cross the road. Oh, my bad. Jimmy, I'm a bad sort, me. I am, but we're almost out of time, dude. Let people know, James, when they can hear some more of the Jimmy Gene factor.
Yeah, plus the epic Journeyman and Jimmy Gene tonight. We're going to be making some martinis at about 11 Pacific on revolution.radio, freedomslips.com. But we'll also be live on YouTube, so all your YouTube friends will be there. We can see you.
That's a breakfast show in the UK. Jimmy Gene's for breakfast. I love you to bits, man, but I don't know if I'm ready for Jimmy at like 7 in the morning.
Well, I heard these two older dudes kibitzing yesterday on the radio, and the one guy told a joke, and it was really funny. So you want me to share it with you guys on the way out?
Is it clean?
It's fairly clean. I mean, I can make it clean.
Yeah, if you can make it clean, then that's cool.
So there's a couple of dudes. They're out in the bush. They're hiking, and one guy gets bit in the penis by a snake.
Could it not have been his finger? Same shape.
No, it could not be his finger. It was his penis, because that was what made it so heinous. This was a poisonous snake.
Okay.
So his friend drives him in emergency fashion in his wood-sided station wagon down to the local doctor. And he left his friend outside. Guy goes in. He goes, "My friend, he's just been bitten by a snake. It's a poisonous snake. What should I do?" The doctor says, "Well, you're going to have to suck the poison right out of there." So the guy looks at the doctor. "Is there any other way?" And he says, "No, you have to suck out the poison."
Oh, why? I did it.
So the guy goes back out to the station wagon. His friend's sweating profusely in the back of the station wagon. His friend's about to pass out. His friend looks up at him and says, "What did the doctor say?" His buddy looks at him and goes, "He said you're going to die, man."
Oh, dude. Oh, Jimmy, man. Nano's thinking.
It's called Freaky Friday.
It is. Nano was thinking there. You see, Kev, this is one of those times where I should step in and save you from this joke. But hey, you've gone there. So yeah.
No, it was great. I wanted to answer a quick question from Cannabis. Do I see all of them, the millions of indigenous peoples? I have to tell you, I make a conscious effort to turn off the see dead people. I don't like talking to the dead people. I can do it, but I've
thought that about mediums before. That's something I've thought about. You know, I read a book by Doris Stokes. She was a famous medium over here, and never shut up. Sometimes it was like constant, and that's the side of things you don't really think about. You know, when you go to see a medium or things like that.
One time I was being a smart aleck in my head, and I was on one of my walks, and I thought, okay, I'm going to walk down this block, and I'm going to look at all the ghosts on the front yard just to see how many there are. Oh, big mistake. There was a whole bunch of them, and some of them were really scary and spooky. I didn't do that again.
Oh, Nano. Why did you drop this in with 2 minutes to go? I don't know.
I didn't know you wanted to talk about ghosts. Hell, I could talk about that.
Freaky Friday is a ghost special. But listen, I want to thank everyone for being here. This has been a blast. It's a Freaky Friday that I didn't think would happen and did happen. And it should have happened. And I think a lot of people will probably will have enjoyed the conversation about time, consciousness, the Neuralink. It was a bit of a damp squib. We did get new info. I'll be going and listening to the questions as well now. And I just want to thank Nano, thank Jimmy for being here, and remind everyone to stay tuned after the break. because Brent Thomas and the Paranormal Portal is coming right up on tfrlive.com. I'll be back on Sunday with Bill Bean. Until next time, wherever you are, make it TFR.
Not y'all.
See, you're waving away, and you've got time to wave the YouTube people goodbye. It's okay. I'll let you say goodbye to your fans out there in the audience, and I think the next time, you know what I'm going to do one time? I'd love to get you, I'd love to get Luna, and maybe get Nancy, and maybe have like a Women's Day on KBS. I'll like set it up and like
That'd be great.
leave yous to it. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of the time it's inevitable. It's mainly guys I have on here, but some of the best conversations as well have with women. And then I've never had a full all-female lineup on KBS, Jimmy, where I've just kind of produced in the background, you know, just kind of have the mic. So I
think you can handle it, Kev.
Oh, I can handle that. I would love that. I would absolutely love it. Look, I can play away in my graphics. I can talk in the chat. Luna's up for it. So
I'm up for it. That would be great.
Mammoth Hunter, yeah.
Old Jimmy has a little experience with this little area here because when Brandy Lou was on the show, we used to do a ladies' night, you know, and I'd play that disco song, Ladies' Night. And I'll tell you, Kev, what I can say, it's like this. You put together a dinner party. It's like putting together a dinner party. And so you invite these different people together, and then you just kick back and create a nice meal over there on the side.
No, it means I can chill out in the chat room, dude. I can take my eye off the ball. I can kick back. I can have a PPP.
Dude, I am having a deja vu right now.
See? How cool's that? How cool's that? Did it remind you of the name of the magazine, though?
No.
What about Paul Allen? Were you thinking of Paul Allen? No.
I might have been. I don't know. I don't know. I can't.
He just died, I think, or was it? But he was supposedly pretty influential in the 70s.
The minute if Epic was here, if I said what I said, he would say.
Okay.
I mean, we did a show about these two things. I can't even believe I don't remember what it is.
It's one of those days, Jimmy. It's one of those days.
Yeah.
I smoked too much of this California fire smoke.
Yeah, probably did. Well, you stay safe over there, right? And Nan, you stay safe as well.
Okay, can I say something before you end?
Oh, hell yeah. On you go.
Okay, so I really appreciate you having me on your show, Kev. This was so nice. This was a crazy week, and this was such a wonderful way to, you know, put a cap around it. I appreciate it. And again, thank you everyone in the chat. You guys are always such sweethearts to me, and I just love you guys to bits. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Nano, and thank you, Jimmy, as well. You wily old fox.
You're welcome. I was just typing in what time the show is tonight. Anyways,
good, dude. Let people know again. Let people know before we go.
Yeah, so we'll be on live on YouTube at 10:30, and the actual show starts at 11. So we do a little pre-show thing, hang out, whatever, and then we jump on over there and try to get into trouble or whatever.
Awesome stuff. This has been brilliant. The Musk was just a good warm-up for the conversation that we had on the back of it. Lots of good stuff. Enjoyed that thoroughly. Big thank you to everyone out there. Luna, Ken, all of our Australian contingent. We got Naysay in there, Lewis, Spooky Dog. Awesome, man. Cool name. Tori, thank you. Good to see you again. So many people in here now. There's one I don't. Ganymede Acoustics. I like that. Ganymede. Is that not the name of a moon?
Is Reese's Jesus in there?
No, not today. I didn't see that in there. DD74.
Yeah, Reese's Jesus I thought was here.
Was
Yeah,
he?
earlier.
Was he? Awesome.
I think so. Yeah.
Dr. Respect.
Yeah. Oh no, that's reloaded. Okay.
Reloaded.
Okay.
BW.
Hopefully that dude who says he has an implant is gonna send.
Cool. Well, folks, if I missed you out in the chat, please join me tomorrow or Sunday. Definitely I'll be back on Sunday, but I think I might do a Saturday one tomorrow. Just because I love you guys so much, you know. But no, stay safe. have fun. Try and, over the weekend, try and take a little piece of advice out my book. Maybe even an hour that you weren't going to spend or you were going to spend online. Go and do something else. Go and give somebody a phone call. Maybe somebody you've not spoke to in a while. Go and do something you haven't done in a while. Like I say, everything will be waiting for you when you get back. I can promise you that. And if not, I've got you covered. I'll be covering it by the time you get back, all right? So, thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. And I will let you all get back about your day now. But I will let you have the famous last words of Dave Baker. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Now we've got to wait for the music to come on. Where are you, music? Don't do this to me. Ah, yes. Waiting to come on. Making me wait as usual. Oh, do come on, music. Please come on. Or I'm going to look really silly right about now. Really, really silly right about now. Right, wait a minute. We'll close that. We'll try that again, Nano, right? Oh, okay. There we go. Better late than never, right?
Worth waiting for.
Yeah.